Welcome to No Fugazee Podcast. I am your host, Cooley. Tonight is a debate night, and we got something special in store for you guys. Let's go. And y'all see the suit too, man. Listen, new studio, new podcast by the spirit, not by the letter. Bro, we can go verse for verse all day long. Doing new things. Men are okay with understanding the reality that we are in competition with one another. But you ladies think that you're special. You are in competition. Men are men of their word. So here's my word. I'll fly you out here and we can do it in person. And after that, we could box. I'm about my business. So remember I said, when I ask you these questions, I will dismantle your entire argument. That's the end of the debate, my dog.
I'm 39, but I don't look your typical 39.
Belly.
Yeah.
You look 39. It's okay though. That man isn't intimidated by a woman like you. He's annoyed by a woman like you. Because a man doesn't want to date another man. He wants to date a woman. All right, welcome back to No Fugazee Podcast, ladies and gents. So tonight is debate night. We have a 1 versus 1 debate, and the topic is marriage a partnership and is it equal? I'll be debating Grace, and I'll be bringing her up, and also I'll be bringing the moderator up as well, Tyga, shortly. But first, let's just do the normal scheduled programming. We got a few links in the YouTube description. The first link is going to be for the memberships. So if you like the podcast and you want to continue to support the podcast and watch it grow, we don't reach 400K in under 3 years. So that's pretty good. So become a member, man. We got 3 tiers. First tier is gang. Second tier is hitman. Third tier is mob ties. You get many type of different special perks and privileges when you become a member. It's pretty cool joining the community. The next link in the YouTube description is going to be for one-on-one consultations. If you want to speak to me personally, book a one-on-one consultation with me, man. I got you. The other links is going to be for the Clips channel. If you don't have time to watch the full, sometimes I stream for like 6-7 hours. So if you don't have time to watch the full stream, go ahead and subscribe to the Clips channel. We break things down in shorter video format from 10 to 30-minute videos right on there on the Clips channel. And then we have all of the other social media links as well in the YouTube description. If you want to get in touch with myself or anyone from my team, all the links is going to be down below. That's going to be for the Facebook, the Facebook, the TikTok, the X, and all of the Instagram accounts as well. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and start debate night. Hello, Tyga and Grace.
Hi.
Hey, Tyga. So you're welcome, Grace. You're welcome. So, Tyga, I'll go ahead and leave the floor to you. You can go ahead and mod this one.
All right, cool. All right, so pretty straightforward stuff. I'm going to give you both 4 minutes for the openers and the closers. We'll do about an hour and a half of open discussion. I'll only interject if interruptions get too crazy or, we kind of get off into the weeds, and I can just reel you guys back in, So I think, did we agree that Cooley is starting first? Was that the agreement?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Cooley. So whenever you're ready, I got the timer. Go ahead.
Okay. So under my worldview, marriage is a lifelong covenant between one man and one woman created by God as a union that reflects the relationship between Christ and the church. This debate can go in 2 different ways, so we have to make a clear distinction between church and state. If you're secular and you get married by the state but not by the church, many churches do not recognize it. And if you're religious and you get married by the church but not by the state, then the state does not recognize it. So if Grace makes the argument tonight that marriage is a partnership through the state, void of church, then that's fine. She can call it whatever she wants, but the church still doesn't recognize it. Men and women have different roles and duties in marriage when under religion, so therefore it's not equal. And men and women are put under different consequences through the state when it comes through divorces and domestic violence cases under secular marriages. That's all I prepared for today. That will be the end of my opening. Grace, the floor is yours.
All right.
Hi. Well, my name is Grace. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I just got to reset the timer. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hi. My name is Grace. Grace Thorpe. I have a YouTube channel and a Kick channel, Thorpe TV and Thorpe Tube. And so that's an interesting intro. I wasn't expecting you to quite do that. I am a Catholic, so I first of all don't believe that churches generally marry people without involving the state. But secondly, I am going off of a biblical view of marriage here. So I think we're both going to agree about that. As far as how the state treats men and women in divorce or custody battles or anything like that, I agree that it is unequal and unfair to men. But I am talking about marriage specifically as an ideal, as the Christian ideal of marriage. So we can both agree on that. Now, I don't think the distinction is between church and state because we're both Christian. The distinction here is between equal in the sense of identical and equal in the sense of equal importance, of the same importance or value. Now, I heard Cooley in his intro say that men and women have different roles within a marriage, and therefore it is an unequal relationship. I simply contend that just because two people do different things in a marriage, it does not mean that they are unequal. Both a man and a woman within a marriage are equally important, equally responsible, and equally valued. It's, of course, a partnership. If we go down to the actual words, right, we agree about marriage. As far as partnership, a partnership is two people who are trusting each other and working towards a shared goal, which I think both of us would agree that is what a marriage is. The question comes to the term of equal. Equal does not mean identical. Equal does not mean the exact same. Equal simply means, if you look at it in terms of a scale, on the same level, of the same weight or value. And so I mean, you can go right to the marriage vows. Both the man and the woman have to say, I do. They both have to agree to it. It's equal from the very, very beginning. And just because men do different things than women in a marriage doesn't mean that it's unequal. It's just different. So that's my opener.
Okay. All right. Really quick, set the timer for an hour and a half for the opening discussion. Scuffed. Sorry. Give me a second here. All right. Whenever you guys are ready, go ahead. An hour and a half on the timer.
Okay, cool. So, Grace, a question for you, because you made a distinction between marriage not being equal. You're saying that your definition of equal is it's equal in value. It doesn't mean that they have the same duties. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, I would use the analogy or the metaphor of a scale. So you can have a pound of feathers and a pound of rocks, and they are on the equal level. They are of equal weight, but they are vastly different things, right? So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about equal. Equal importance, equal weight, same importance, not same identity or roles. Yeah.
Okay. Because in the beginning of your opening, you said that, marriage is equal in a sense of their identity. So they're identical. What did you mean by that then? Because it was hard following your opening, since you said, well, they're equal as far as, they're identical, but then you say that they're not equal as far as their importance and their value.
I think you misunderstood what I was saying. I was
Okay.
saying that you can define the word equal as identical. You can define it that way. So, like, if you're talking about the scale, right? 3 oranges is the same weight as 3 oranges. They can be identical. But I don't define equal that way when I'm talking about marriage, because of course men and women are different, both physically and mentally, emotionally, in every possible way you could imagine. So I'm not talking about being identical. I was saying some people, especially feminists, say that being equal means being identical. What I'm saying is that being equal means that you can be very, very different from each other, but have the same weight or importance within a certain relationship.
Okay. So yeah, I would look at it differently. I don't consider that even the Bible, there's not any passage within the Bible that gives a description that men and women are equal. What is described in the Bible and what it does say is that through the spiritually, they are valued the same spiritually
Wait,
in the eyes of the Lord. So
can I stop you right there really quick? You said there's no passage in the Bible that says that men and women are equal. Do you mean that men and women are the same? There's no passage in the Bible that says that men and women are the same or very similar. Is that what you're talking about?
correct. Once again,
I agree
because
with you.
God gives
I agree with
clear
you.
distinctions between the roles and the duties,
agree with you.
etc. Okay, so then
That was my
we do
point in
agree
saying
on.
that equal does not mean similar. Equal just means of the same weight. So if you want to say the Bible does
Okay.
not say men and
So-
women are equal in the sense of them being identical or very similar to each other, I agree.
Got
agree
it.
with
So
you.
then can you give me an example of, or give me can you demonstrate how men and women that's married, a man and a woman that's married would be equal? Give me some demonstrated for me. We may agree, we may disagree.
Yeah, I think we probably will agree more than we'll disagree. Okay, so let's talk in terms of children. Okay, in terms of children, a woman is equally as important within a marriage in terms of children as a man. A woman is responsible for that baby for 9 months in gestation. A woman is responsible for giving birth. A woman is responsible for breastfeeding that child and giving it intimacy so that it doesn't grow up autistic. A woman is responsible for connecting that child with its father and allowing it to move from her to the father. Equally so, the father is responsible for shaping and molding that child once it has received the warmth from its mother into a solid human being that can go out into the world. They are equally important, and if a mother does not fulfill her responsibilities to the children, or if the father doesn't fulfill his responsibilities to the children will fail equally badly in both scenarios.
Okay, so what you're doing right now, you're committing a appeal to definition fallacy. So just because it's your definition and you're appealing to it, it does not mean that there aren't other definitions of equal that would draw a clear distinction and show that things aren't equal, right? So once again, I would say that throughout, we can just read passages, right? So let's just look at 1 Corinthians 11:3. It says, "But I want you to understand that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is man, and the head of Christ is God." This is drawing a clear distinction between men and women, right? So this is not saying that men and women are equal, even in the terms how you described it. You know what I mean? So once again, I think you're committing a logical fallacy.
First of all, there is no such logical fallacy as the definition fallacy or whatever you called it. I think what you're referring to is an equivocational fallacy, which means there's potential definitions of a word and referring to one definition and then changing it. But that's not what I'm doing.
It's what I'm speaking about. There is a lot. It's a logical fallacy that's called the definition of logical fallacy, and it's when you appeal to a certain definition so to make to fit your argument. Right? You appeal to a definition to fit your argument. That's what you're doing right now. So you're making an argument. You are doing that. You have a definition, and then with your definition, you're making an argument to fit this definition of a word. That's what I'm saying.
That's
you can
not
Google it.
It's not a fallacy, but whatever. We can move on from that. I agree with you that I am using the definition of equal to mean of the same weight or importance. Feel free to give me a different
But I don't even
definition.
think that it's even of the same weight or the same importance, and I can demonstrate it.
Let me just finish my point.
Okay.
If you would like to give me a different definition of equal, we need to agree on our definition of equal before we debate the topic. So I'm happy to hear your definition of equal. But you didn't give me a definition.
Yeah, once again, and what we're trying to do currently right now is discover what we mean by the definition. One of us would either have to grant the definition and then, do an internal critique on that. So that's fine. I can go ahead and
give me your definition of equal if you want.
But
for us to agree on the definition so we can move forward from that.
Well, we can move forward right now. For the sake of the debate,
no.
I'll go ahead and grant.
Definition, though.
You know what? I'll go ahead and grant your definition. and
Okay, sure.
I will disprove how it's not even equal under your definition.
Okay, so my definition is the same in terms of importance or weight in the relationship. That's my definition.
Yeah.
Like on the scales, if you have a marriage where one person is responsible for way more or one person is responsible for way less, that's unequal. But if they're both equally responsible, they can have different roles, but they are equal in terms of weight and importance. So go ahead, prove me wrong. Go
Importance.
ahead.
Okay. So if it's the case that the man cheats versus the woman cheating, right?
Sure.
Well, with the woman cheating, there's many different circumstances that can happen if the woman commits adultery and she cheats on the man. She can get pregnant by another man, which then that man, it totally ruins the household and so forth and so forth. So one, pregnancy happens. The other thing, if the woman cheats, not just pregnancy, but even if I'll explain it this way. So when you look at, chastity within a marriage, or like, let's say chastity, like the woman being chaste, we would have to say that, well, that's a virtue within a woman, right? You would say that chastity is a virtue within a woman.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Now, does it have the same importance as the man being chaste, the man having chastity? Does it hold the same importance?
Well, there's two answers I would give. First of all, a woman can get pregnant if she cheats on her husband, but a man can also get another woman pregnant if he cheats on his wife. I would say both of those situations equally would ruin the family and the marriage that those two people have. Secondly, this is where the equal but different part comes in. I actually would agree with you, generally speaking, that a woman having sex with another man is worse than a man having sex with another woman, even if they're married, because men and women operate differently. A more equivalent example, I think, would be if a woman emotionally cheats with her colleague at work and a man, gets like a blowjob from a hooker. Those two, I would say, are equally bad and equally detrimental to the marriage. So I do think that it's not worse if the woman cheats or if the man cheats. It's perfectly equal. However, they would do it in different ways.
Got it. So that does make sense, but you fell into a fatal trap because you say that you're a Christian, but but currently right now you're creating these differences under a secular purview. Under Christianity, it would actually be that, well, under God's eyes, if you commit adultery, if you're a man or a woman, it's actually equal. It's the same, right? But therefore, you can make it. You made these distinctions. I asked these questions just to see if you can make these distinctions to show that how it's actually not equal. So therefore, you would still utilize a secular worldview within your Christian framework to justify how it's not equal. This is why you said that it's not equal. And I did this specifically just to show that. Real quick, I asked the questions specifically just to show that you actually still view marriage through a secular framework. You don't actually view it through a Christian framework.
Well, you have a certain interpretation of what you're saying, that adultery literally means sleeping with someone else. I believe that an emotional affair can be adultery, just like sexually, literally, physically sleeping with someone else.
And that would be so under the Christian framework. Once again,
I don't think this is really focusing on the equality thing.
Well,
but
it is, because this is why. Remember, when my argument is very simple. We have to make a clear distinction between secular marriage and religious marriage, right? If we make the clear distinction, I've already granted the argument that, well, under a secular worldview, it can be a partnership. But it can never be equal, right? You can say it's a partnership, but it can never be equal under a secular worldview. Under a religious framework, it's never going to be a partnership, but through the eyes of God, it will be equal. But even when we look at the differences of the duties, once again, I'm operating under your definition right now of equal. right? So this isn't my definition. I'm operating under your definition of equal. Even under your definition of equal, you still see clear distinctions when it comes to duties, when it comes to roles, and the consequences of those duties and those roles would have different outcomes under your definition of it being equal, which you just shared.
Okay, well, first of all, I don't think you understand. Marriage is a natural institution, meaning that it's part of nature. It's not necessarily a Christian thing. So a secular marriage.
I disagree with that. That doesn't make any sense. Think about polygyny, and all of these things. So if you're a Christian, you don't recognize.
You're not letting me. Well, you're not letting me make my point.
But yeah, you just said that marriage is, has always been around, and it doesn't matter if you're religious or not.
Has always been around.
Okay, go ahead and make your point.
It's a natural institution, meaning, like, for example, as a Catholic, you take the Eucharist, right? You believe that is the confected actual body of Christ, right? That is a religious action. Marriage is a natural institution. It's not inherently religious. So two people can get married and have an equal partnership, just like Catholics would, or Christians would get married and have an equal partnership. The question is about whether marriage is an equal partnership, not about whether it's Christian or secular. That's sort of like, that's a red herring. It's not. The ideal marriage would be the same for a secular person as it would be for a Christian. That's not true at all, because if that's the case, then why, if you do not get married through the state and you get married through the church, the state doesn't recognize it, and vice versa? That's not true. Most churches, every church, I think, has to tell the state when they marry someone.
No. Listen to what I just said. If I get married, if hypothetically me and you get married right now through the church, right, and we do not get married through the state, there are states that would. There's many states that they actually have to have. They'll bring like a marriage license and have you sign the documents, and it would be recognized by the state. But there are certain cases where you can have a ceremony and a priest or would marry you, and it isn't recognized by the state, right? So therefore, what you just said, refutes itself. There may be some
exceptions where that happens, but generally speaking, in America, if you're married by a priest or a pastor or whatever it is, they send that marriage license to the state, and the state recognizes it. So generally, the state is involved in marriages, and for a good reason, because the state is invested in the outcome of the children of that marriage.
Yeah, but there's many instances where the state.
This is really a different debate.
You're incorrect. If you look at Pentecostal churches, you don't even know what you're speaking about. If you look at Pentecostal churches, you can go ahead and get married in a Pentecostal church, and the pastor would marry you in a Pentecostal church. So you get what I'm saying? They'll go ahead and marry you. You don't have to sign any papers or anything at all. So what you're saying is just a lie.
They will marry. Okay. Generally speaking, if you're a Christian and you get married by a pastor, the state recognizes the marriage.
Yeah.
Generally speaking. So we're really not debating that. There may be some exceptions to that, but generally speaking, marriage is recognized by the church and the state. So we can just move on from that.
Yeah, but it's still not recognized by the church and the state. What I'm saying is, if there's a pastor, right? If there's a pastor or a priest,
this is really not
and
what
you
we're
go
debating,
to the pastor.
Okay.
I mean, this is, if you go to a pastor or a priest in many different denominations of churches. Yes, because there's many churches that don't follow. One, they don't follow the state, and they don't even follow the Bible. There's many churches that have LGBTQ plus flags. I've been to many churches and been to many ceremonies where they actually married two couples, not by the state, and it was just by the church. So this does happen, right? You can say that, okay, well, it's an exception, but still this exception refutes your argument of what you just made it. Now, if you want to make it a general argument, I already said yes to the general statement.
Okay, I don't care if the marriage is recognized by the church or the state or both. Let's just say that. Like, whatever you think about it, let's put that aside. All I care about is the quality of the marriage. That's what we're debating here. I think what you're saying is largely irrelevant. I don't think it really matters who the marriage is recognized by. Let's just say we have a marriage. Is that marriage an equal partnership? We've already agreed that it's a partnership. The question is whether it's equal, whether both sides have equal weight and importance in the relationship.
Okay,
Now,
so question for you.
Let me
Okay,
just say
go
this
ahead. No,
really
you
quick,
can
and then
finish
I'd
your
like to
point.
hear
Go
your
ahead.
question. You told me that if a woman cheats, it is more detrimental to the marriage than if a man cheats.
I
And I
asked
believe
you.
I refuted that.
No, I
I
just asked
refuted
you.
that by saying that both sides cheating would be equally detrimental to the marriage. So if you have another example, I'm happy to respond.
So you're saying that, and that's totally fine as far as, let's just say that, generally speaking, which is true, most churches, the priests would actually, if they're marrying a couple, they would bring the documents and the papers would be signed there, or they'll sign it later on, right? Generally speaking. So this means that it's being recognized through the church and the state, right? Now, your argument is that, well, marriage is equal. So my standpoint is that marriage is not equal. So if it's the case that it's recognized through the church and also is recognized through the state, do men and women experience the same consequences when it comes to divorce? And are they viewed equally when it comes to divorce in the court, since it's through the state?
This is a very different argument, and I agree with you.
No, this isn't a different argument. This is the argument.
Let me just finish my point.
Go ahead.
This is a very different argument.
Can you answer my question, though?
Our American government treats men is brutally unfair, and I agree with you. That does not have anything to do with whether marriage at its core, ideally, is an equal partnership or an unequal partnership. You have yet to make one argument that is not external, simply the marriage itself, an ideal marriage.
I'll explain it to you.
Church.
I'll explain it to you.
How is it unequal? You tell me how it's unequal.
With under your framework, since generally speaking, marriages cannot be divorced from the church and the state, meaning that the church, the state does recognize marriages through the state does recognize marriages through the church, because the church has to adhere to the priest has to adhere to getting a license to marry this couple. If that's the case and the priest the church is adhering to the state, but the state does not view marriage as equal, meaning that they don't put the same consequences when it comes to the man and the woman, when it comes to divorce, when it comes to domestic violence, when it comes to many different circumstances, right? So I want you, I want you to answer my question. The question is very simple. If it's equal, then why does the state view men and women differently when it comes to domestic violence and when it comes to divorce?
Because the state is wrong. The state has been influenced by negative actors in society. The state is biased against men. But we're not talking about whether the government of America treats
therefore
men
it's
unequally.
not equal.
I would agree with
under
you.
your
No, that is
but
not
under your
true.
worldview,
We're talking about whether the ideal marriage, the concept of marriage, is an equal partnership, not about how our government treats married people. That's a totally different debate.
We're actually talking about both. What are you speaking about? It's a totally different debate, right? It's not a totally different debate.
I agree with you that
the
in
debate.
America, I agree with you that in America, the state does not hold women as accountable as men. If that's what you think equal means, there's no debate. I would not.
Okay, so then
that's not what equal means. Equal does not mean that the state treats you the same way.
Okay, listen, I want you to understand something, and also the audience. What I'm doing right now is just doing an internal critique based off of the things that you said. The things that you said is that, well, marriage is men and women share different roles, but it's equally weighed. They have the same importance, right? Then
Correct.
you also said that, well, generally, marriage cannot be divorced from the state. Okay? So if that's the case, we're going within your framework. This is all of your argument. If that's the case, then why is it that the state does not recognize marriage like the church recognizes marriage? Why is that?
This is a stupid argument.
It's not a stupid argument.
Why did America not give blacks the same equality as whites prior to the Civil War because blacks are not equal to whites? Based on your logic, that's how that works.
No, it's not
because
my
the
logic.
government
It's your
was
logic.
wrong. No, that's your logic. You're saying,
No, it isn't. This is what you're saying.
Hey, if this is in theory true, then why does the state not practice that? Because sometimes the state is wrong. Black people were not given equal rights to white people prior to the Civil War. That doesn't mean black people have less rights than white people, inherently speaking. We are talking about theory, not practice.
Wait, time out. Did
We talk
black
about
people have,
theory.
let's just go with this. Well, let's go with your argument. Was black people less important?
No,
You're-
blacks and whites have equal human dignity and equal
No,
rights.
through the state under slavery, did black people have less importance? You just said that, well, what deems
They did not
what
have equal
what-
rights.
You
They did
just
not
says
have
that
equal
what
rights.
Well, hey,
what
now it
makes
kind of sounds
something
like we are in a different debate. Let's go back to marriage.
you want to go back? Okay,
Yeah,
fair
let's-
enough. Instead of going to the slavery, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough, Tiger. So, okay. So, Grace, what I'm doing right now, and I'm just doing I'm just trying to see if things are consistent. And so far, what you're consistent on is that, well, marriage, as far as, it being equal, is men and women have different roles, but it's the same importance and it's valued the same.
Correct.
Through religion, we agree on that,
Okay.
right? We agree
I
on
don't
that,
know
right?
if you agree with me on that. You agree that outside of the state, if you put the state aside, if you think about an ideal marriage, it's an equal partnership. You're saying you agree with me about that?
If you put the state aside and if you're looking at religion, Christianity, you
Okay,
say that
sure.
you are a Christian, right?
Yes.
So what you're saying is if you're just looking at religion, let's forget about the state right now and the government,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, forget about
But
the
even
state.
if you're just looking at religion, what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, what you're saying is, well, men and women have different roles, where there's many different passages within the Bible that explains their different roles. But since they have different roles, they still have the same importance, which would mean that it's still equal. Is that your argument for
Absolutely.
marriage being equal as far as religion?
If you want to say in terms of religion, that's fine. Yes, that's my argument.
Okay, now
You agree with that?
Okay, now what else well, not yet. I'm not sure. I just wanted to know
You
if I
just
have it
said
right.
you just said we both agree on that.
No,
Are-
I said
do you agree
we
about
both
that or
agree
not?
on. No, I said we both agree on something else right there. I was just still meaning your argument to make sure I had it correct. But if
Oh, okay, you're
that's the
saying
case,
we both agree that that's my argument. Okay,
yeah,
go
if
ahead.
that's the case, then we both agree that that's your argument. But if that's the case, then with this, we're playing a little bit semantics right now, but it's fine because I granted your worldview of equal. But again, is it equal importance and equal value? And how can demonstrate it in a way and see if you can do it biblically where there's equal importance. And I would say that equal importance, yes. And when you say that equal value, and you use something else, what else did you say? Equal importance, equal value, and then you said something else.
Wait.
Equal weight, and you weighed it on the scale, equal weight as far as their responsibilities and duties is what you mean.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So I think that's the part we would disagree on. So importance, I would say that, there can be equal importance as far as looking at men and women under marriage under the framework in religion. But if we're looking at it from the weight, you would have to, can you demonstrate that for me, how it would be equal weight?
Okay. So I just want to just re-clarify a few things, and then I will illustrate that. So you agree with me that both a man and a
Importance
woman-
and value for religion, equal, secular? No.
we both agree that the state does not treat men and women equally when it comes to marriage. But let's just say ideal marriage, ideal Christian marriage, right? Okay. So you agree with me that both the man and the woman, both the husband and the wife, are of equal importance. Okay. I think that may be quite a concession, but okay. So now you want me to explain how they are.
That
equal
isn't a
weight.
concession because that's something we agree on, and I even agree in my opening because I was making a clear distinction between church and state.
Okay, but,
Yeah.
but we're talking about equality, and you just said it's equal in this way. So that's a bit of a concession. But okay, moving
No,
on.
through the eyes of the church.
My hope is to get you to
For
agree
that,
with me,
yeah, that's
because I think
fine.
you do agree with me. Okay, so in terms of weight, okay, you offered an example of cheating. So weight meaning like if one person slacks off or messes up, it's equally as bad when each party does so. So I gave an example in terms of children. If a wife is a bad caretaker of the children when they're younger, those children will have developmental issues and they will not be successful. If a husband is a bad father to his children, he's distant, he does not chisel them, he does not mold them. Those children will be spoiled and not ready to take on the real world. In both cases, both parents are equally important to the children. If one messes up, it is equally as bad as if the other messes up. In terms of cheating, if the husband cheats, it's just as bad as if the wife cheats. They may cheat in different ways, but it's equally detrimental to the marriage and the family. I guess in the most simple terms, if you want to say in terms of weight, we could also say in terms of power. Both the husband and the wife have equal power to mess each other's lives up and ruin the marriage. And so therefore I would say it is equal.
Okay, so if it's the case that you would say that the man duties is to protect and to provide, the man stops doing his duty. How is this equal to if the woman stops doing her duty? And I would say that, and let me know if you agree, the woman's duty is, nurturing, caretaking, and being submissive to the man.
Correct. Yeah, there are other things, but like we can say those are the main things. Sure.
Okay. So how is that? So if it's the case that the man stops doing his duty, which is to, let's just say, protect. He's not protecting his family. Someone could come and just kill his family. How is that equal to the woman not doing her nurturing duty?
Well,
Death or, I'm not going to love my kids like that.
Well, it is actually equally important. And I think you could even argue that the woman's role
No, it's not.
Well, let me make my point.
Okay.
If the woman does not nurture the children are, first of all, the point of the marriage, right? The whole point is to get married and to raise children through a marriage, to have children and raise them and educate them. So the children are the most precious thing to both parties. They are the most precious object.
But
so
how is it equal if the man isn't there to protect and there isn't any children or the wife because the man isn't there to protect?
Let me just finish my point. Okay, so he doesn't protect them. Okay, so they are vulnerable to outside sources. The mother doesn't nurture them. The children are autistic, developmentally stunted, not able to succeed. Their quality of life is going to be incredibly impacted by that.
When you say importance, do you mean I look at importance as like a priority. Like, so when you say like...
those children may grow up to commit suicide. So he's not protecting them. They may die. She doesn't nurture them. They may commit suicide. You could see it that way. That's the extreme of both examples.
But Grace, that wouldn't be equal. That wouldn't be equal and important. That would actually totally dismantle your entire definition of equal. It wouldn't be equal in importance, because what would be more important is if the man protected the family so they can breathe and live another day. It doesn't matter, like, okay, protection from death, or you look at the mother, well, I'm not gonna submit to the man and I'm not going to nurture the children, but you can still live if you're not submitting to the man. You can still live if you're not nurturing the children. Those duties are not as important as the man's duty. So when you look at importance, I look at priority, right? Then when you go to your value, this is what I'm saying. Some of these questions is going to be hard for you to actually answer under your definition.
Hard for me to answer.
Well, it is because you didn't give a good answer at all. But then when you look at the value, fine. Then when you look at the value of the man and a woman's duties, it's valued differently because if the man isn't doing his duty, which is to protect and to provide, what are the children and the woman eating? How are the children and the woman staying safe from bad, negative outside influences or physical influences that can, take their life?
Okay.
Or physical forces that can take their life. You get what I'm saying?
Life, I understand what you're saying. And of course, it's a problem if your life is vulnerable to outside attacks. First of all, if a man doesn't protect, if he fails to defend his wife and kids, they may not get attacked in the first place. Whereas motherly love is crucial to the development.
It's a hypothetical.
Of every human being. But let's just say hypothetically. Okay, so you're saying that just being alive is more important than your quality of life. I would argue those are equivalent. It is just as important to be healthy.
No. If you're a Christian, you don't believe that to be true, Grace.
It is just as important for those children. Let me just make my point. It is just as important for those children to be healthy and to be developed with nurture and love. Otherwise, they will fail miserably at life, as it is for them to be defended from outside attacks. That is clearly true. And I think you could even argue that it's more important for the mother to nurture them. Although I wouldn't argue that. I'd say they're equal.
Okay. So, one, what you said in regards to, negative circumstances and suffering is equal to death. If you're a Christian, this is untrue because there's many passages in the Bible that goes against this. It even says things like, if your mother and your father forsaken you, I would be there for you, right? So even if the worst circumstances, if your mother and your father forsaken you, you can still find Christ. Christ is still going to be with you. So that debunks your entire argument from what you just said, Grace. That doesn't adhere to Christian ethics at all.
The quote that you just gave actually proves my argument. If your mother and father forsake you. So once again, they're being equivocated. It doesn't say if your father forsakes you, come to me. But if your mother forsakes you, well, it's not that big of a deal. It says mother and father. So that actually proves my point.
No, it doesn't, Grace. And I'll explain how it doesn't prove your point, because your point is that I made a clear distinction between, the father's role of protecting and providing is not equal to the mother's role of nurturing and being submissive and taking care of the children.
This is the crux of the argument.
Oh, got it. So let me finish, Grace. I'll let you speak. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I made a clear distinction between the two. And under your definition of equal, because I'm granting your definition, so I'm doing an internal critique on your definition. You said that it's the same, it's equal because it's the same importance, it's the same value, and it holds the same weight. Correct. It does not hold the same weight. And you saying, and when I brung up the hypothetical, if the man stops doing his duty, then that is not the same as if the woman stops doing her duty. The children, the husband, and the woman does not die if the woman isn't nurturing and being submissive. That does not happen. But if the man stops doing his duty, if it's the case that death is, danger is, in the vicinity, then that would happen. You get what I'm saying? Then
I understand that.
The children and the mother can die. So when I say that, then you said that, if it's the case where, here's what you said, because you said a whole lot there. You said, suffering and death is equal. That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. Because if suffering and death was equal, then why, if you're suffering, then you might as well die. Why is there many verses in the Bible that says that even if you're suffering, God is there for you?
You're giving an extreme example. Most of the time, if a man
to show that your logic isn't consistent when it comes to your definition of things being equal.
My logic is consistent.
No, it isn't.
Hold on, let me make this point. Okay,
sure,
you want to talk about death and life. Okay, if a mother is not nurturing to her baby, it will die. So there's my counter.
Nurturing in what way?
Does not nurture her child, does not give it face-to-face contact, does not give it skin-to-skin contact, does not love it. There have been studies on this. The baby will die. So if you want to take extreme examples, if the father doesn't protect the children,
what about when mothers just give their baby up for adoption?
Nurture.
What about
the
when
child
mothers just
will
give their
die.
baby up for adoption? Does the baby die? That doesn't make any
That's
sense.
a different argument. If the man,
That's not a different argument. You just said that if
No,
the
no, hold on.
mother, just time out. You just said that if the mother does
No,
not
you just
nurture
interrupted me, and then
and
I had
take
to
care of the
counter, and you're
baby
just
and give
talking over
skin to
me.
skin contact and eye to eye contact and all of this stuff, then the baby dies. There's many women that just give their children up for adoption and the children don't die. They do this at birth. Once the baby pop out, yeah, get this little nigga away. I don't want him no more. So what are you speaking about?
Okay,
If that's the case, then all of these babies would be dying
That's a stupid point because
in
then
the
a husband
in
can
the
give-
adoption clinics.
a husband can give his wife and kids to someone else or to the welfare system, and they won't die. Okay, it's not the same.
That refutes
That's
your
a different
argument. Then it was a dumb argument, Grace.
So then neither of them are that important, but both of them are obviously important. Also, if you want to speak about nurturing, okay, if a woman gets pregnant and she's not nurturing, she'll abort the child. She'll kill the child, right? 1/3 of my generation,
Like nurturing, like what? What do you
let me
mean?
make this point. 1/3 of my generation is dead from unnurturing mothers killing us in the womb. So they are equally important. They are equally of equal weight.
Okay, so you're saying
you
that
can see it,
abortion
yeah.
you're speaking about. You're saying abortion, those women weren't they weren't being nurturing.
I would say an abortion is the opposite of a nurturing mother. Yes.
Okay, got it. So yeah, I would agree that abortion is the opposite of a nurturing mother, but as far as nurturing itself and the duties that nurturing has within it, the mother can't even do the bulk of those duties until the baby is born anyway. So
Oh, that is
What do you mean?
completely untrue. That is not true. If
Okay.
if a woman doesn't care about herself or her body or that child when it's in the womb, she can kill it, she can poison it, she can give it defects, she can drink alcohol, she can do drugs. If she's not nurturing of that baby, she can fuck it up for life in the womb. And she has
Yeah.
total control over that. So you want to
Yeah,
tell me
I-
women don't have the same, being nurturing is not important for human life?
no, that's not what I said. I made a clear distinction.
Are aborted fetuses in the garbage can.
No, I made
We
a
would
clear
have
distinction.
appreciated it if our mothers had been a little more nurturing.
Yeah, I made a clear distinction with the roles and the duties that a mother has to do when the baby is inside the womb and when the baby is outside of the womb, right? So when you're speaking about nurturing and you're trying to make the argument that, once again, you have to prove that how is nurturing equal, like equivalent to the man's duty, right? And I'm saying that if the man doesn't do his duty, there is no wife, there isn't no children. Because if he isn't there to protect them, since the beginning of time, a saber-toothed tiger would just come and eat the baby and or another tribe would come and take over, would grape the wife and take the baby or kill off the wife and take whatever it may be. If the father isn't doing his duty, their life is on the line. When the mother isn't doing their duty,
Their life
the
is on the
child's
line.
life, let me finish. The child's life necessarily, with the baby being outside the womb, the child's life is not on the line. And I'll even take it a step further. If we're speaking to the nature of men and women, if the husband did not want his wife to have an abortion, she wouldn't have the ability to do it because she's not physically stronger than the man. So even if the wife wanted to abort the baby, well, how she's going to go ahead and do it if the man does not allow her to do it from the nature aspect because she is the weaker vessel. So then if we're moving it, you still need to answer
Can I respond?
and give me. Yeah, but you haven't really answered the question and showed how it's actually equal if, the man doesn't do his duty, the wife and children die. But if the woman does her duty, the wife and children, they don't die. I'm saying that everything that the wife does, the man can still do when the baby is outside of the womb.
Okay, first of all, that's not true. A man can't breastfeed, and even once the baby is outside of the womb,
Similac,
that's not the same thing. That is really not the same.
the baby would still survive.
It will survive, that's true, but the woman has a huge benefit she can add to the baby. So first of all, I want to clarify.
That's a clear distinction.
Well, real quick,
that's a clear distinction.
Hold
but
on,
even with what
let's
you just said,
let
it's a
Grace
clear
go.
distinction that it's. Yeah, go ahead, Grace.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're giving me an extreme example. Most of the time, if a man does not defend his wife and children, they won't die. But let's say they do die. Okay, that's an extreme example. On the opposite side,
To prove how it's not equal.
If a woman is not nurturing to her baby inside and outside of the womb, that child can die, and those children do die. And also, if she is not nurturing to the man and children, she can also kill them. So the opposite of a nurturing wife and mother is a mother who poisons her husband and her children, which women can do. So nurturing is just as important as defending.
How can the wife poison the man and kill him?
I'm saying it's an extreme example. She literally could do that if she was.
Oh,
not
you mean
nurturing
like actually
enough.
like what would? Well, how can she do it void of nurturing? Explain. You're speaking, but you're not demonstrating. How can the woman not nurturing poison the man and kill him?
Okay, so in the Black community, right? Women are not nurturing of their sons. They do not raise their sons up and give them to the father to mold and chisel into good, strong men. They're not nurturing. They alienate their children from their fathers. They're harsh towards their sons. Their sons grow up, become parts of gangs, and get killed. That's one way that non-nurturing can get a child killed. They can commit suicide. They can become drug addicts. They can become, the loneliness epidemic is because of non-nurturing mothers. Okay? Many of the biggest problems that society faces are due to mothers' failures. Abortion, loneliness, suicide, drug addiction. That's because these children did not get the nurturing they needed from their mothers. So it is just as important to receive nurturing from your mother as it is to be protected by your father. 100%.
Then why is it, well, then you have to go with these stats. Then why is it the case that single father households do just as good as two parent households, and they do better than single mother households, which means that the man can actually do the duties that the mother can do, which is nurturing. Your argument is defeated. Once again, I'll repeat it back to you if you didn't understand. You thought you was cooking, but you wasn't cooking, Grace. You actually made my argument for me. If it's the case that the woman's duty is just as important if she doesn't do the duty as the man if he doesn't do his duty, this isn't true. Because why is it the case that single father households do just as good as if two parents is in a household, but a single mother household does not do as good? This would mean that the man can also do his duty of protecting and providing, but he can also do the woman's duty as well, which then the kids would experience the same outcomes as a two-parent household.
I challenge that statistic. I do not.
What?
I do not.
Go ahead and challenge it.
Parent households of either sex do better than two parent households.
No one said better, Grace. No one said better.
So single dad households do better than two parent households.
No, I didn't say that, Grace. I didn't say that.
You literally did say that. But it's okay if you want to take that back.
I'll repeat it again. I didn't say that, Grace. I have these conversations all the time. I said that single
fathers do just as well as two parent households.
No, Grace, let me just correct you so you have it right. Single father households do just as good as two parent households, just as good, the same, but they do better than single mother households. This would explain that the man not adhering to his duty is much, much worse than the woman not adhering to her duty, because the man can also do his duty and he can do the mother's duty, where the children would experience the same outcomes under a single father household as if it was the case that it was two parents in the home. But if it's just one parent in the home, which is raised by the mother, void of the father, you would see that, well, it is not as good. This is a demonstration, Grace. What I'm demonstrating here is to say that if we're speaking about the importance and the roles of the father's duty and the mother's duty, all of the mother's duties can be outsourced That men can outsource them duties themselves and do it themselves, right? So all of the duties the mother can do after the child is out of the womb, the father can do. But as far as the father's duties, the mothers cannot do those same duties, which is why the kids experience negative outcomes, which would show and demonstrate that the father's duties is more important, more valuable, and it is not the same weight, which it is not equal. That's the end of the debate.
I understand your argument.
Give me any refutation for that.
Well, I don't know what statistics you're referring to, but I don't think that single parent households of either sex do just as well as two parent households. However, I will agree with you. Let me grant you this. Single father households do better than single mother households. That's definitely true.
Okay.
That's definitely true. Because
Tyga, would you like to just pull up since he's moderating? I mean, I could pull it up too. Do you want to pull up statistics to show you, or are you going to grant it for the sake of argument? Because we can stop and pull this up. It's up to you.
Yeah,
I would. It may be true that like they earn the same amount of money as children.
The outcomes of the children is better under a single father.
Outcomes.
Outcomes. I'll explain. So outcomes is basically when children are raised with a single mother, they experience higher rates of juvenile delinquents.
We already agree about single mothers versus single fathers. I agree that single mothers are worse. I agree, much worse.
But you agree that single mothers is much worse than two parent households. I'm making a distinction.
No, worse than single father households.
Yeah, I'm saying that
mothers do worse than single fathers. That's definitely true. Undeniable.
Oh, okay, wait, real quick. So you're granting it then?
Yes, I agree with that. I think that's true.
So if it is true that the single mother households do worse than single father households, you saying that that's true?
Yes.
Okay, if that is true, then that is a clear demonstration with statistical evidence that shows that the roles and the duties that you say are equal in value and equal in importance and equal in weight, whereas actually not equal in value and equal in importance and equal in weight.
I understand that argument. You're saying that if mothers were just as important as fathers, then how come children from single father households do better than children from single mother households?
Exactly.
There is actually an easy explanation for that, which is that fathers are more important to the child as it gets older. So the conclusion that women's roles are not as important as men's roles or within a marriage and for children, just because single fathers do better than single mothers, the conclusion doesn't follow. So if we're judging based on, first of all, it's not a niche group, but single mothers are often bad people in general. They're often bad people. So,
you're making my point for me.
Well, my point is simply that single mothers are generally women who reject God, reject men, reject their husbands, reject their fathers. And so it's not surprising to me that that group of people has a worse outcome on their children. It is not as general of single fathers that they reject women, reject God, reject truth. However, single mothers are disgusting, generally speaking, awful people. So
you're making my point for me though.
I'm not, but that doesn't mean that men's roles are more important than women's roles. It just means that women who find themselves in a single mother situation are generally worse people who are going to be worse at bringing up children.
And you know what? And the thing is, no, that doesn't mean that. And the thing is, if you say that you're a Christian, there's roles and there's distinct duties, and not only duties, but there's a clear, distinct hierarchy of importance, hierarchy of priority when it comes to, Christ, the church, the man, the woman, and the children. There's a hierarchy when it comes to things, and the reason why there's a hierarchy because there's different importance. So once again, I'm just using your definition, right? And I granted it in a sense of the spiritual aspect, right? And the spiritual aspect, I went ahead and granted it in the beginning so I can do an internal critique and say, yes, spiritually, in God's eyes, it's important, it's valued, but then you put something in there and you said, wait. And once you said, wait, I'm like, well, you must be viewing the importance differently, and you must be viewing the value differently because you inserted weight. And this is where we came to the conclusion where you basically have to concede and say that, well, when it comes to men and women and their duties, it's not the same importance, it's not the same value. And even in Christian ethics, it shows a clear hierarchy between things. Do you want me to read a verse to you?
No, I agree with you. Wives, submit to your husbands. The man is in charge. That doesn't mean that he's more important or has more weight than her. That's a simple issue in your case.
No. There's
mixing roles
under your definition of equal. When you say that, how you're saying that is equal, that it's weighed of importance and value, the weight of it is the same. I'm telling you that it's not the same, because if it was the same, we would see the same outcomes if the man stopped doing his duties and if the woman stopped doing her duties. We would see the same outcomes when it comes to children. But we do not see those. But real quick, Grace, we do not see those same outcomes if a man stops doing his duty. We know the outcomes is very detrimental. We see that. It's very clear when it comes to single mothers. But if the woman stops doing her duty, the man can still take on the woman's duties and do his duties, and the kids would experience the same outcomes as if they were being raised by both parents.
Okay, let's move on.
That's the delineation.
I think the hierarchy thing is important. The hierarchy thing is important because you are saying that if somebody makes decisions, then they are more important or have more weight in the relationship than someone who does not. So if you're saying marriage is an unequal partnership, can you give me an analogy to marriage that you would say would be, obviously it's not the same, but a relationship that you would say is analogous? Would you say parent-child it's similar to? Boss-employee? What would you say? What is your analogous relationship to marriage if it's unequal? Because there are other unequal relationships that people can have.
Ephesians 5:23, wives, submit to your husband as the Lord. Think about this. Wives, submit to your husband as the Lord, which is referring to your husband on earth is essentially the wife's Lord. For the husband, listen, for the husband, I'm making the distinction for you and I'm giving the differences how it's not equal. For the husband is the head of the wife as Christ is the head of the church. You are a Christian, but you don't see that there's a difference of hierarchy, which would be if there's a difference of hierarchy, there's a difference of importance.
Incorrect. Nope.
Okay, well, if you don't see that, I'm not sure.
A difference. Let me give you an example. If I'm a tennis player and I hire a coach,
sure,
that coach has hierarchy over me in the sense that I listen to him. I submit to that coach, correct?
Okay, you're saying the coach, you're the player, the coach, you submit to the coach gives the orders. Okay.
Yes. Does that mean that I am not equal to him of importance or weight in the relationship?
Okay, so once again, if you are
what we're determining here is whether if somebody
is the
makes
coach
the
God?
decisions,
Are you making the distinction between the coach being? Are you making the analogy that the coach is God? Is that what you're trying to do?
No, I'm saying the wife submits to the husband like a tennis player submits to her tennis coach, in the sense that the tennis player, if she's a good player and he's a good coach, the coach will tell her what to do, tell her when to exercise, what to eat, what to wear, how to play, will correct her. And if she's a good player, she'll listen to him. Does that mean that she is unequal to him in the relationship in terms of importance or weight?
Yeah, because if the coach doesn't want the player to play, then the player can't play.
If the coach doesn't want the player to play, then the player can't play?
Yeah, you can bench him.
What does that mean?
Oh, you're on the bench. So what I'm
No,
saying
no,
is
tennis is a
we can
solo
just map
sport.
it on.
No. You don't get benched in tennis. Like I'm saying, tennis is like 1v1. So it's just you and the coach. There's no other teammates.
Yeah. All right. So the coach doesn't think that you're qualified to play in this game. I think that you should sit out this game and you need more practice. The tennis player would have to adhere to the coach's order.
That's not how it works.
Well,
That's not how it. That's not
how
really
you saying
how it
that's
works.
not how it works? I never played
thinking
tennis,
of it
but
in
I ran
terms-
track.
You're thinking of it in terms of like basketball, like you sit this one out, you're not good enough. But that's where there's a team. I'm talking about a partnership where there's two people. So that's why I'm using tennis. It's one coach, one player.
Yeah. So
It's
what I'm saying
one coach,
is
one player. So what my argument is, I think that's analogous because the coach is nothing without the player, and the player is nothing without the coach. They are both.
So is God nothing without? Is Christ nothing without us? And is the man nothing? And is the man nothing without the wife?
A husband is nothing without a wife. You would agree you have to have a wife in order to be a husband. So what I'm saying is in terms of husband wife, I'm making the analogy that it's like a tennis player and a tennis coach. Now you're saying because it says wives submit to your husbands, that means that the husband has more importance in the relationship. That's not true because if you look at a different relationship, a tennis player and a tennis coach, the tennis coach, the tennis player submits to the coach, but they are of equal importance in the relationship. Neither of them have anything without each other.
Well, who's the final decision maker?
The coach.
Which would be the husband.
Correct.
Okay, so if the coach and the husband makes the final decision, then it is not equal because, like I said before, if the coach says, you're not playing today, if the husband says, sit down, woman, and cook me some food, hey, you got to adhere to it. We make the man makes the final decision. The coach makes the final decision. Therefore, it is not equal. You are proving my points right with your own arguments.
Why does decision making mean unequal?
Because you can't, if the wife has to submit.
You mean it's not the same? You mean it's not the same?
No, it isn't equal.
It's not the same, but it's equal.
So I'll tell you this.
It's not the same.
Can the wife, here's how it's not equal. Can the wife say, does the wife ever have the final say if she's being submissive?
No. Not unless he wants her to.
Therefore, right, not unless the husband wants the wife to have the final say, which means that the wife would always have to appeal to the husband, which creates a hierarchy of it is not the same importance. It is not equal.
No, those are just different roles. Leading and following are just two sides of the same coin. They're different roles. One guy's the decision maker, the other follows the decisions. That doesn't mean they're unequal. What is a leader without a follower? Just like what is a follower without a leader? They're equally important. And so being, my other point is, let me just make my other point.
Okay, you can make your other point.
If a man tells his wife what to do and she doesn't listen, or she subterfuges it, she drags her feet, she doesn't go along supportively, she can ruin his life just as much as he can ruin her life by making a bad decision. They are equally important.
Yeah, I agree that they can ruin each other's lives. They can cause some struggles, some differences, some
can they do it equally?
Emotional turmoil. They can disrupt. Let me finish, right?
Okay.
I see what you're saying. The husband and a wife, if they don't adhere to their duties, yeah, it would cause some disruption in the relationship. True, that would happen. If the wife isn't submitting to the husband, then obviously is going to be causing some problems. She's not going to be getting sex. She's not going to be doing her duties as far as being submissive and following his lead. It's going to cause problems in the relationship. Mm-hmm. The difference is when we look at the extreme examples, and the reason why you have to map it onto extreme examples is to point out the differences, the distinctions that shows that it's actually, in fact, not equal under your terms of being same importance, same value, and same weight. Because if the man stops doing his duty, which is protecting and providing, the effects of that outweighs the effects if the woman stops doing her duties, because his duty is to protect. So if we look at it as an extreme example, if the family's life is in jeopardy, there's a bang at the door, an intruder. If the man doesn't go down there with his gun to protect the family, it's a 100% guarantee that they're going to die if the man doesn't adhere to his duty. Right?
Well, it's not a guarantee, but okay, that's an extreme example. Okay.
If the perpetrator is trying to kill the wife, trying to kill the family, but the man does not want to adhere to his duty, the woman isn't capable to protect herself like the man can, to protect herself, her children, and the husband like the man is capable to protect himself, the children, and the wife, because the man is physically stronger. And not just physically stronger, has better emotional regulation. So if the situation gets a little hot and heated, he's not going to be scared. He has the courage. Like, think about it. If men loses courage, then the relationship is going to fall to pieces. It's going to be very detrimental. But if the woman loses, nurturing, it's like, well, yeah, it's going to be some problems, but it's not going to be the total end of living.
Okay, if the woman is not nurturing, that's the end of the family. So once again, it's similar, right? If you lead but you have no one to follow, what's the point? If you follow but nobody leads you, what's the point? If you protect, it is
not the end of their life.
If you protect, but there is no family to protect because your wife is disobedient, unnurturing, you have hostile children, and she does not respect or listen to you, what is there to defend? Literally, women hire hitmen.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about life, women.
I can answer it. You want me to answer you? Let me answer that.
Hitman to kill her family. Women do that all the time.
All right, let me answer your questions, Grace. Do you know that there's a large percentage of marriages that are sexless? Women don't adhere to one of their main duties of giving the man sex. Many men in relationships experience sexless marriages, meaning that the woman is not adhering to her duty. You get what I'm saying? And not even just sex, but it's okay. Does the man still stay in that relationship? He does. There's many men that stay in sexless relationships, that stay in relationships where the woman...
Are we talking about marriages or relationships?
We're speaking about marriages, right? We're speaking about marriages, right?
Sure. Okay.
Like, men aren't the ones that's divorcing women, generally speaking. Women are the ones that's divorcing the man.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Correct.
80% of divorces are filed by
70
women.
to 80% of divorces are filed by women. So if we're just using your example, if it's the case that, the wife stops doing her duties, in most cases, men still stay. So it does not ruin does not destroy the relationship. Yeah, it causes many problems in a relationship, and it sucks that the man has to be living with a woman that is not being submissive and following his lead and giving him sex. Yeah, it sucks, but the reality is most men still stay in those committed relationships and those committed marriages. That is the reality.
What is your point?
But the point is, if the man stops doing his duty, she divorces him. That's what I'm saying. They'll divorce the man. Listen, let me finish.
That's an interesting point. Okay,
So listen. That's the distinction. Women initiate these divorces for many cases if the man, and this is why I'm saying that it's more detrimental to the marriage if the man doesn't do his duty, because the woman is just like, she's in her feelings, she leaves. If the woman stops doing her duties, many men stay. I don't want them to stay. It's like, man, you a sucker, staying, you a simp. But they still stay. That's the reality of the world. So here's what I'll say in regards to this, though. Mm-hmm. So if we're looking at a scenario where the wife is not adhering to her duties, right? I'm sorry, if we're speaking about the man, if the man is not adhering to his duties, and it can be say if it's even statistics that shows that if the man loses his job, that is a predictor for that's a predictor that it's a possibility that the woman could divorce the man. Like the chances go up if he loses his job, if he experiences a pay decrease, if he, you know, if the
I
wife,
get the point. I get the point you're making.
If the
women
wife
fail, men
experience
stay.
gets
If
more
men
money,
fail, women leave.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I understand the point. Okay, this is very interesting to me because first of all, women who divorce their husbands, it's generally not because the man is failing. And herein we find some underlying misandry on your part. You blame men for women divorcing them. Most of the time in modern divorces,
No, I didn't blame men for divorcing them. That's not what I said.
You said it's because the man is failing. Most of the time when women divorce men, the man is perfectly reasonable and the woman is angry, has daddy issues, wants to try something new. It is not the fault of the man that most women divorce them.
No,
Now,
I didn't say that it is the fault of the man. I said that if the man
were failing, and I didn't.
I said
interrupt
that
you.
if it's the case,
let's
Okay,
let
go
Grace.
ahead. But she's straw. But Tyga, she's straw man in my argument, not steel man. But go ahead, you can finish, Grace.
You said that women divorce men because the men are failing. If that's not blaming the man for the divorce, I don't know what is. Okay, so that's my response to your accusation of straw manning. The second point I'd like to make is, if you say that men and women are not equally important, valuable, and of equal weight in a relationship, then if the marriage fails, the man is always to blame. Because if the man has more weight, more importance, more value, then if the woman cheats, divorces, or does anything immoral, it's his fault because he's superior to her. And that is simply not true. Women can be evil just as much, and I would in fact argue more than men. So if you say that men have more importance, value, and weight in relationships than women do, then everything the woman does is the man's fault. And that's simply not true. And you as a red pill guy or a pro-male guy or whatever you want to call yourself should be sympathetic to that. That women can ruin a marriage just as much as a man can. And in fact, in modern times, most women do ruin those marriages. And it's not the man's fault because they are of equal importance in the relationship. Does that make sense to you?
So, once again, you straw man my argument. You got it totally all wrong. That is not what I was saying. What I was doing was, when I said that, I never said that it's, you used the word like it's, if the man, what I said was, if the man doesn't adhere to his duties, there's many cases in reality that the woman, like it's even statistics on this, that the wife would divorce the man if he's not adhering to his duties. This doesn't mean that the man is the reason for the divorce, right? You've inserted that yourself. That is not what I said over here. So once again, let's make it clear, because I'll let you go ahead and go on your rant, and what you said was totally untrue. That is not the logical entailment to my argument. The logical entailment to my argument is that if it's the case that the man does not adhere to his duties, which we can see, and we can see the negative effects when they divorce the man and they make these reports. And a lot of the divorces, they say irreconcilable, soluble differences, where the woman just, she's in her feelings and she divorces the man due to whatever, because she's not feeling him like that anymore, right? But there's many reasons that the wife would divorce the man due to financial reasons. This does not mean that it's the man's fault. This would still mean, under the context of religion, this would still mean that it's the woman. How it's through death, do its part. It's through thick and thin. It's through all of these things. It's still the woman not having the ability to weather the storm and handle adversities in the relationship. So she's quitting and leaving the marriage, which it is her fault. That's what I'm saying, right? So you talking about, well, coolly, what you're saying is you're putting all the blame on the man. No, I am not. I made that argument just to refute your claim, because you keep saying that, well, the roles are different, but it's equal in value, equal in importance, and equal in weight. And my argument to say that it's not equal in weight if the man stopped doing his duties versus the woman stopped doing her duties, because there's different outcomes and different effects, where if the man stopped doing his duties, the woman, she leaves, which is when a woman, if she stops doing her duties, the man, he normally stays. I'm showing you how it's not equal in weight, in value, or in importance. So don't straw man the argument. You got to steel man the argument. But okay, that's I'll go ahead and leave the Tiger. Do you want to continue it on? Because where are we at as far as time?
Yeah, we got about like 20 minutes left.
We got 20 minutes. Okay. And since we got a lot of people in the comments right now, we'll actually do open panel. So
Sure.
And if you still want to continue on, if you have more points to make, Grace, we can still we can continue on for the next 20 minutes. But I just wanted to speak to the audience real quick, so we can continue on for the next 20 minutes, and then we can do our closing, and then we'll do open panel. So anyone that wants to join open panel, let me go ahead and put the link in the YouTube description real quick. Actually, Tyga, instead of me doing it, can you do that, Tyga? So Grace she says she had more points because you got the link.
Dude, I'm internet illiterate, bro. I don't know.
All right, never mind.
I'm sorry.
I'll do it real quick. I got you, man. One moment, Grace.
Sure, no problem.
All right, let's see here.
Chad, are you on my side so far? I've been making good points.
Let's see.
Well, the chat's roasting all three of us pretty regularly. So
W's in the chat for Grace. W's in the chat for Grace. Let's go. Come on, he has his moderator and it's his channel. Can I get some glazing? He says he can blow Grace out with a single question.
Okay, so hey chat, I went ahead and put the link in the YouTube comments. It's pinned in the YouTube comments. So me and Grace is going to continue on the debate for a while longer, and then we'll open it up for open panel. Go ahead, Grace. You said you had some more points or a question for me.
Yeah. Okay. So earlier, you were using an analogy of like a lord and a servant, I believe.
No, I've read a scripture.
Okay. Well, you you were saying like
the Ephesians 3:25, wives submit to your husband as to the Lord.
Okay. So what I'm trying to find out is, what is another unequal relationship that you would say is analogous to marriage? Because it sounds to me like you're saying that women are basically replaceable after they give birth to children, meaning you can do basically everything that a woman does yourself or with other people after the baby is out of the womb, which makes it sound like you're saying like it's a boss-employee relationship where the man is in charge and the woman is helpful but not really necessary. Would you agree that in a business, a boss is necessary for the business to work, but the employee can quit or leave if it is no longer necessary?
Yeah, what I'm saying is very simple. The reason why it's not equal because... Can you
just respond to that question?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to respond. The reason why it's not equal is because there's a clear hierarchy. There's a distinction between things where it can.
You already said all this. I'm saying here's another.
So I'm explaining it to you.
Where there's a hierarchy.
Yeah, I'm explaining it to you.
Yeah, let him explain. Let me
just land my plane, because I don't think you understand, because it's real simple to understand it. You can make any type of like analogy you want to map it on to this one, but you're still not mapping it on perfectly. So my argument is very simple.
An analogy is not going to map on perfectly because an analogy is similar, not exactly the same. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an analogy. So
well,
I think
it isn't even similar.
At analogies. Okay,
so it isn't even similar.
Okay, so just answer this question: is a boss to an employee similar to a husband to a wife? Is that a similar relationship, in your opinion?
As when we're speaking about my definition of marriage and we're speaking about under religion and Christian, nah, it's different. So look, let me just explain it to you real quick.
Okay.
So still man my position, don't straw man. It's very simple. The reason why marriage between men and women is not equal and it's not a partnership is because God creates a clear distinction between men and women, and there's a hierarchy between the man, the woman, and Christ. There's a hierarchy between things. So there's a difference between importance, which means that, listen, stop it, but listen, which means that the man has to be subordinate to Christ, as Christ is subordinate to the church. The wife has to be subordinate to the man. You get what I'm saying? As to your Lord, as to
their
God.
roles.
Listen, no, stop it. Listen. The wife.
Stop yelling at me. I understand. I'm a
But
Catholic.
Grace, you're not understanding. Ephesians
You're
3:20.
equating
Ephesians
hierarchy
5:23.
Grace, you are kind of interrupting quite a bit. Let's let Cooley finish.
Yeah,
his
just
thought.
let me
But
land my
can you
plane.
Please answer my question because he already made this point to me.
No.
He's just repeating
Oh,
himself.
he's
you're still
trying
not
to, but you
understanding.
keep interrupting him. Just let him answer.
We talk about the analogies because
Let
he
me
already
land
made this
it. I'm
point
going
me.
to let me finish. I'm going to bring up your analogy and I'm going to explain how it isn't even similar. Okay? So if it's the case that wives submit to your husband as to the Lord, then how is it that the employee to the manager, so the employee to the manager would be the same? It would be the employee to the owner of the company.
Okay, that's what I mean by boss, owner of the company. Okay, so owner of the company to employee. You're saying
Well,
similar.
I'm trying to explain to you how your analogy
Maybe-
just didn't
maybe-
work.
Okay, so I could have used more specific words. Okay, so the owner of business to an employee is similar to a husband to a wife.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, that is completely not true.
That would be similar. If
Okay.
you say that the employee to the owner, there's an employee, there's a manager, there's the owner of the company. I can say that, well, there's a similarity between things because the manager has to be subordinate to the owner of the company because the rules and regulations and the methodology, the practices and everything is coming from the owner and then it's going to the manager and then it's being distributed down to the employees.
Sure,
And
okay.
so as from above, as it is for below, meaning that the employee must adhere to the manager. But if the employee is adhering to the manager, it is actually adhering to the company as well, because if the manager is adhering to the company, then it's that order.
Okay,
Makes
okay,
sense.
okay.
Yeah. Like Christ,
owner
the
of
man,
a business,
the wife.
owner of a business, employee, husband, wife. These are not similar things, and this is where you're going to completely fall apart. First of
Okay,
all,
sure, go ahead.
You can fire your employee. Can you fire your wife?
You can fire your, you can you divorce your wife?
No. In an ideal marriage, can you fire your wife and get another one?
Well,
Can you
if you're
replace your wife?
mapping on,
Can you
if
fire
you're
your
mapping
wife?
on
Answer that
to,
question. As a
if by
Christian,
fire you
as a
mean
Christian,
divorce.
Let's talk about religious. As a Christian, can you fire your wife?
Listen, real quick, stop. If by
Answer the question.
by fire
No, I have
do you
five-
mean
I have like
divorce?
three- I have
don't
three
know what you
questions for
mean,
you.
Grace.
Are you allowed to divorce?
Okay, so then you mean do divorce? So then you mean
if you
divorce?
want to call it divorce, fine. Are you allowed to divorce
Yeah,
in a Christian marriage?
under extreme circumstances.
Okay, see, this is the problem. This is
Under
the problem.
extreme.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
look,
First of all,
if
even
you don't
wanna
like
go
my answer, Grace.
a marriage is a lifelong bond. Okay, you can't fire each other in a marriage.
You can't
It's a
divorce one
lifelong
another?
commitment.
Okay, so if your husband is whooping your butt and beating you up and you go to your church council to say, hey, my husband keeps beating me up. You go to your church
the problem.
priest and you say that
This
I
is the
have all of
problem.
these black eyes. What do I do? He's
This
going to
is the
say
problem.
that, well, it's going to be some counseling to see if he can stop whooping your butt. But if he doesn't stop, he never stops.
This
He's
is
going to
the
be
problem.
like, okay, you can divorce your husband.
You are a Protestant and you believe in divorce. So your definition of marriage is not
No,
a lifelong
under
commitment.
extreme.
No, let
What
me
are you
finish.
speaking about?
Your
Under
definition-
extreme
you said-
circumstances?
No. If we go by
There
your
is a
definition
divorce.
of marriage, your definition of marriage, which is a lifelong commitment between a man and a woman, you cannot fire your wife under your definition of marriage. However,
No, you're incorrect,
your
Grace.
definition changes that it's a
You're
lifelong
wrong.
commitment between a man and a woman. Unless one of them changes their mind, then you can fire your wife. But
Okay,
you
Grace.
believe in divorce. That's a problem. You changed your definition of marriage. If it's a
No,
lifelong
Grace.
bond between a man
You're
and a woman,
straw
you
manning
can't
my
fire
position.
your wife.
You're
can't.
making assertions of things that I never said, Grace. That's what you're doing. You're making assertions of things that I've never said. I've never said the things that just came out of your mouth.
You never said
Once
marriage
again.
is a lifelong commitment between a man and a woman. You didn't say that.
Once again,
Did you say that or
marriage
not?
is a lifelong commitment between a husband and a wife. But if it's the case, Grace, because you asked the general question, can the husband divorce his wife? Can he
Is it a
fire?
lifelong commitment or not?
Stop it, Grace. Can he fire his wife? Under certain circumstances, the wife or the husband can divorce the wife, but it's under the confinements of the church. This would have to be authorized by the church. So listen, Grace, stop it. Let me land my plane. Grace, let me land.
Yeah,
Grace,
Grace.
let me land the plane,
Come on.
Grace.
It's back and forth,
Yeah,
Tiger.
but-
You're being biased towards him. It's a back.
I am not. I've stopped him from interrupting you multiple times. What are you talking about?
Fine. I just really wanted to make my point.
Yeah. Well, you'll get to.
Wife-
Just let him
okay, let me
finish,
just-
and then you can
2
go
seconds.
ahead.
You know what, Grace? In good
No,
faith.
no, 2
You know,
seconds.
no,
Come
listen,
on.
no, Tiger. You know what? We're on my channel. I'll just let her go ahead and make her point because she's straw man it anyway.
Okay.
I'll just bring it back. Go ahead.
Okay.
You're a benevolent.
Wife-
You're a benevolent
wife-
lord, Cooley.
Okay. Thank you. A wife can divorce her husband. A husband can divorce his wife. An employee, an owner of a business can fire an employee. An employee cannot fire the owner of the business. That is a distinct difference between the two. One is equal. They both can do it to each other. An employee cannot fire the owner of the business. So that is unequal. So it's equal in the marriage, unequal in the owner-employee analogy.
Okay, you done? Was that your point? Okay. So
Yeah.
once again, when you gave the analogy, I said that the analogy does not map on perfectly at all. And then I spoke more and I gave you my argument as far as the hierarchy. And I said that with that analogy, if you add in the company, that would be similar. It isn't the same, Grace. So of course there's going to be differences in regards to comparing the employee to the wife because it is not the same. So what you're doing is you're like trying to move the goalposts in certain ways to like make a point, but it just isn't working because I'm very specific with the words that I use. Now, when we're speaking about the differences of no, not even the differences. When we're speaking about divorce, let me ask you the question, Grace. If your husband is beating your butt, giving you many black eyes, and he's not going to stop whooping your butt, knocking you out, you come home, boom, punching you in the stomach. You come, look, I don't like the way you look today. Mac-ow. Are you going to divorce your husband?
I don't personally believe in divorce, but we can put that aside. So my response to your point is, okay.
No, answer it.
Yeah, hold on. Don't dodge. Come on,
Don't
answer the
dodge, Grace.
question.
I would never divorce. No, I don't believe in
Okay,
divorce.
so you
Even
would.
if your husband was okay, I'm sorry.
So
Go ahead,
Grace,
sorry.
so you would. Tiger, chill. You moderate. I know
sorry,
you're getting
sorry,
excited.
you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm
So
fired up.
Grace,
now.
then you would stay in a marriage where your life is on the line and your husband is whooping your butt and beating you, physically abusing you every single day, and he is not stopping, and you would stay with him.
I would separate from him.
How
I would
is-
separate physically from him. I would not divorce because a divorce, I don't believe in it. It's either a lifelong commitment or it's not. So I would separate physically from him.
Okay, so
But
you would.
here's
How
another
can you
point.
separate? Real quick, how can you separate physically from him if you're not adhering to some sort of authority, which would be the church or the state?
I really think that's a separate argument.
No, it isn't. Because how can you
that's a whole other
separate physically
argument,
from him when he's physically
whole
stronger? He
other-
can be like, shut up, woman, where you going? I'm locking you down in the basement and you're not going anywhere. The man is physically stronger. The woman needs to appeal to another authority. So if you're appealing to the church, then you have to speak to a priest, where therefore the priest would look at it and deem the marriage as unworthy of being in Christ. So he would actually make you guys divorce because he doesn't want a woman to continue to be in a relationship where she's being abused, physically abused. If you go to the state is going to be like, you can't stay in this relationship. There's going to be a divorce. It would be men that would physically take you away from that man. So you would have to, listen, Grace, you would have to appeal to, it isn't a relevant point, Grace, because you said
Not about
that,
equality
listen,
in
Grace,
marriage. This
stop
is
it,
something
Grace.
else.
It's your argument, though.
No,
I
it's
asked you a
not.
question.
I'm not
It
arguing
is.
about divorce.
Basically, Grace, stop it. You just said that. You asked me the question. Well, would you ever divorce? I said that, well, under extreme circumstances, yeah, the man,
we can have a
the
different debate
husband,
about
listen,
divorce
Grace, the
sometime if
husband
you
or
want
the,
to.
listen, the husband or the wife can divorce under extreme circumstances.
Fine, I'll
asked you
grant
the
you that.
question.
I'll grant you that. I'll grant you that. I'll grant
So,
you that.
okay, so
It's
then
fine.
you would divorce your man if he was whooping your butt.
This is a different argument. Would I
So
personally
no,
divorce?
would you divorce your man if he was beating you up every day? And you saying separate.
don't
How can
believe
you
in
separate
divorce.
from your man without
don't
having
believe
an
in divorce.
authority figure to separate?
Okay, my point was that
Meaning you would
said
have to
an
file for
owner
divorce.
Of a business is similar to an employee. Is an owner of a business?
No, Grace.
His relationship to an employee is similar.
Don't
to a
obfuscate.
husband
Let's
to a
stay right
wife.
here, Grace. I'm not letting you move the
You're
goalposts
the one
here.
obfuscating. You're arguing
I'm
about
not,
divorce.
Grace.
We're not talking
No.
about divorce. You're obfuscating.
Grace, you brung this up. No, it's very simple, Grace. What I'm going to put it very clear
that
for you.
both sides can divorce each other. I granted you that. Can we move on? I
No,
granted you that.
I'm asking you specifically. Would you divorce your husband if he was whooping your butt?
I don't believe in divorce. I would physically separate from
Okay,
him.
so now
Can we
let me.
move
So
on?
okay, got it. So just stay here. No, it's not. No, moving on. If you're saying that you will physically separate from your husband, I'm telling you, how can you physically separate from your husband without appealing to an authority, where you would have to divorce? So therefore, the authority figure can make you guys separate.
You can file for legal separation in the state, and you can file for separation in a Catholic tribunal. Like, can we move on? There's ways to do this.
Okay, so therefore, what are you speaking about? If the state knows that you are being
Can
physically
legally
abused,
separate from
stop it.
someone
No.
without divorcing them.
It will be
hold on. I was just gonna say
let me just-
we've got 2 minutes left. I mean, we're kind of beating a dead horse here. I feel
All
like.
right,
Just
fair
spit
enough,
it
fair
out,
enough.
You know.
All right, fair enough. You want to do fair enough. She conceded doing it. She basically said that the man and a woman can divorce anyway. But all right, Tyga, what do you want to do? The floor is yours.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean,
respond to my point. You didn't respond to my point, which is that an
I
employee
did
cannot
respond to all
fire
your
the owner
points.
of the business, but a wife can fire her husband. So it's not equal. It's not equal. An unequal relationship, you can't fire each other. An equal relationship,
Grace.
you can fire each other. You didn't respond
Grace.
to that.
No, Grace, real quick. I did respond to that already. I think you missed it. I'll say it one more time since we only got 2 minutes left. When you're trying to make an analogy to map on, you're trying to make an analogy of company, manager, employee,
I didn't
and
say
you're trying.
manager. You added that in, but okay, fine. I'm saying owner of business, employee. That's it.
Okay, owner of business and employee, however you want to do it, it does not map on to my argument and my definition. You're like arguing with yourself again. For my
You said
argument,
it was similar. You said it was a similar relationship.
but if you added in the distinction of company, manager, and employee, it will be similar, but it won't be the same, which therefore, yes, I know an employee cannot fire the manager or not fire the company. The employee cannot do that, but there is a clear distinction that the manager can fire the employee and the company can fire the manager and the employee, which shows that there's a hierarchy, there's a difference, things are not equal. The man is not equal to Christ. The woman is not equal to the man.
You're making
There's
my
a clear
point.
distinction. There's
You're
a
not
hierarchy.
understanding.
I'm not making your point, Grace.
You're right. You're
Grace,
right.
go ahead.
The employee
go ahead.
cannot fire the owner of the business. The owner of the business can fire the employee. You said that relationship is similar to marriage. However, in marriage, the man can divorce the woman just as much as the woman can divorce the man. So they are not similar relationships. And you were wrong when you said that it was a similar relationship.
No, Grace. When
How
I'm
do you
speaking about
That's the time.
I don't
That's the
think you
timer.
understand, bro. Yeah, he put. You're just
Yeah,
lacking understanding on that one. But go ahead, Tiger. Let us know what you want
Yeah, I
to
was
do.
gonna say let's go ahead. That's the timer right there. Let's move into openings. And I think since Cooley, you opened first, so I think it should be that you get the last word, right? So how about Grace? You go ahead with your opening statement or closing statement. Pardon me, really quick. Let me get the timer going. You got 4 minutes. Whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Okay. I think that Cooley made a basic error in saying that just because people have different roles in a relationship, that means that one is more important than the other. He compared a marriage to an owner of a business and an employee. However, those are obviously way different because literally by his own logic, a man and a woman can divorce each other and an owner of a business and an employee cannot fire each other. So it's an equal relationship in that aspect, and an employee business owner relationship is not equal. There's no unequal relationship analogy that is similar to a marriage, because a marriage is an equal relationship. He admitted, I'd appreciate it if you didn't laugh at me while I'm talking. That would
Yeah,
I
very
wasn't laughing.
unprofessional,
I wasn't laughing at you. I'm sorry. I was just looking at comments. But go ahead. I didn't know. I'll mute my mic. Go ahead. You're good.
Yeah, I'll give you an extra 30 seconds, Sue. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. So I really think that Cooley just simply doesn't understand that you can have different roles. One person can be in charge, the other person can follow, and you can be of equal importance and equal value within the relationship. Both a man and woman can fuck each other's lives up equally as badly. They can also both help each other and support each other equally as well. And they are both equally important and valuable and equal in weight of their power to each other. I think that if you say that a man is more important in a relationship, in a marriage, than a woman, then you are going to put all of the weight of the relationship on that man, and it is therefore going to be that man's fault if the marriage falls apart, if the woman leaves, if the woman cheats, if the woman does wrong. It's his fault because he, in Cooley's mind, is superior to her, and that's not fair to men. Somebody who's red pill, who's pro-male, who recognizes the injustices done to men in our political system today should recognize that saying the man is superior makes him responsible for the woman in a way that is both infantilizing to the woman and unreasonable to the man. It's not fair. I would also like to say, just before I close, that I am live streaming on Thorpe TV. And after the debate, I am going to have a post-debate show if you guys would like to come over. So thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on as well. Thank you.
All right. Let me just start this over and I'll pass it over to you, Cooley. All right, go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay, so Grace, this entire debate, she kept straw manning my argument instead of steel manning my argument. Even when she makes the case and she's speaking about, the what we were just speaking about, and she's saying, well, she makes an analogy as far as the company and the employee. And then I give her my argument that, well, that doesn't map on at all to what I'm speaking about when I'm saying that, when I'm speaking about marriage, I'm saying that there's Christ, the man has to be subordinate to, the husband has to be subordinate to Christ, and the wife has to be subordinate to the man as she is subordinate to the Lord, right? So there's a clear distinction. There's a hierarchy. It's not showing that things are equal. And under this entire debate, I granted her argument and I defeated her very simply by just doing internal critiques based off of her definition of equal. Once again, her definition of equal is equal in importance, equal in value, and equal in weight. And when we went over this, we see that it wasn't equal in any of these things, because if it was, then single mother households would do just as good as two-parent households. But we see that if the woman stops doing her role, it is not as detrimental as if the man stops doing his role to the family. But the man can do his role and pick up the woman's role, and the children would have the same outcomes as if the children is being raised with both the mother and the father. This draws a clear distinction, and she even granted it because we could have brung up the statistics that actually show and prove that single mother households do much worse than single father households, but single father households do just as good as two-parent households. There's statistics to back this up, and I demonstrated that during this debate. Then she says things like, saying the man is superior makes him more responsible, meaning that all the responsibility and the accountability is on the man since he is superior. Well, if you're a true Christian, you know that this is wrong and that men and women have agency. Under God's law, under Christian ethics, the man and the woman, from a spiritual aspect, this is not true. The woman is just as accountable. Think about it. If Adam never bit the apple, we would have been good. Eve could bite the apple and okay, Eve, you die, but Adam never dies. You get what I'm saying? God would have just created another woman for Eve. The world went into a fallen state is because Adam followed Eve. That's why. So there's a clear distinction in regards to the order of consequences. And there's a clear distinction in regards to, well, the woman, she does have to take accountability. She bit the apple, she takes accountability. The man bites the apple, he takes accountability. It's not saying that if in a relationship, in a marriage, if the man stopped doing his duties, then it's all the man's fault. No, you're just making these assertions into what you think I'm saying to make your argument. But I'm not, that's nothing that I said, Grace. So once again, this entire debate,
30 seconds.
You basically conceded on all of the points. You brung up divorce and saying that, oh, men and women can't divorce. And then you say, well, men and women can divorce. Then you brung up, well, men and women are not equal. But then when it comes to single mothers versus single fathers in two-parent households, oh, there's a clear distinction that it is unequal. That's the end.
Oh. All right. 5 seconds to spare. Okay.
Oh, 5 seconds to spare. Sure. Okay, so we will open it up to open panel if anyone wants to join. And once again, Grace, thanks for coming. I do want to say that. Thanks for coming. Grace, you did reach out to me. You said, hey, you want to do some debates. I said, for sure, man, we could debate. I'm open to debate anyone. This podcast is called No Fugazi. I don't just bring up people I bring up everybody. So if you hit me up and you want to debate, the floor is for you to debate me. Thank you for being, you were a good sport. You weren't like, too crazy or too wild or anything like that. So yeah, you were a good sport. So thank you for that. But other than that, let's bring it up to open panel. Let's see what we got here. So we're going to do one person at a time. We got a lot of people in here. And so what we're doing with open panel, right? Each person that comes up, you get one question. So you can either you get one question. It can be a question for myself and a question for Grace, or just a question for Grace or myself, right? So you can ask us both one question. That's what I'm saying. Let's start with Dane. It looks like he was in here first. Dane, no audio coming from you.
What about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead, Dane.
I didn't know you were gonna pull me up first. I'd have put on clean underwear, man. But
Dane be wildin'.
Let me ask you this, Grace. Okay. Let's reduce this back and get rid of all of the stuff we have in modern times.
Dane, can you turn your audio up? Your audio is a little low.
Let me see here. You hear me better now? What about now?
We could hear you. Go ahead. It's fine. It's low, but it's fine. Go ahead.
Come on, I'm an old dude, man. I'm an old dude.
I can hear it okay. I'm okay with the audio if you're okay with that.
All this Santa Claus snow, man. Come on, give me a little grace. Let me ask you this, Grace. So let's go back to primitive times, right? A man, a wife, and some kids are living in a hut or a cave or a hole in the ground or something.
Sure.
There's dangers outside. There's no army. There's no police. There's just man against nature and the beast, right? There's man-eaters that want to come in and eat the family, kill them, treat them like a food source. There's needs like fresh water and hunger and stuff like that. And also there's people from other mud huts and holes in the ground that want to come in and do nefarious things. So they need food. I got the picture, yeah. They need food. So the man in that unit goes out and he risks his life and limb out in the wilderness, the jungle, the forest somewhere, and he knocks a wildebeest in the head or some other animal. Risks his life, wrestles him down, kills him. And then he brings that dead animal back to the hut. Now, he went out and he risked his life and limb and his safety to get that food. He brings it back to the hut. Who does that food belong to?
Who does that food belong to?
It
belongs to the whole family.
It belongs to why the family didn't go kill the wildebeest.
I know, but man and woman become one flesh, and their children is the product of their flesh. So they're all one unit. The food belongs to the whole unit.
That's a concept. I'm talking about pre-religion. They're primitive men. They're just trying to survive nature and keep nature from killing them. So
well, I'm not sure in primitive times if they had concepts of ownership either. So, like, I'm not sure what you're asking. What are you trying to ask?
Why does it matter?
Are you saying it's the man's food?
I'm asking you within my hypothetical. The man went out and knocked the wildebeest in the head. He could have taken that food back wherever he wanted. He could have went and found another woman to share it with. He could have eaten it all himself. He could have shared it with his friends, but he took it back to the house because, of course, he's a benevolent man. That's how men are. But he comes back.
Sure.
Who does that food belong to? Because before he walked in the door, aside from any modern Western ideas of nobility and honor, he shows back up at the house. This is just a primitive man with a dead wildebeest and a hungry woman, a hungry children
Okay.
looking at him.
Yeah, he's asking who does the food belong to?
Who does it belong to?
I'm just gonna respond. The food belongs to him and his family
Why
because
his
he and his,
family? Please defend why it belongs to his family.
well, why
The
why
family
his
did
children are
not bring
owed
his life and limb. He
his
could have
children are
gone-
owed his children and wife are owed for him to provide for them. So
Why?
he owes it to them and he's
Why?
fulfilling his duty.
Why does he owe it to his wife?
Well,
and family?
if he doesn't provide for his family, they'll die of starvation. So I would think he
what?
would want to provide for them.
Well, of course he wouldn't want to because he's a nice guy. That's honor and duty. But I'm asking you, aside from honor and duty, he went out and risked death or worse, because there's a lot worse things than death. He could have been crippled, maimed, mangled, anything. He went out and risked his life and limb. Now, don't get me wrong. The wife, the woman, she's at home taking care of children, and that's notable. But taking care of children and everything is not like risking life and limb or worse, death or worse. He goes out, he manages to kill the wildebeest. That is his asset. So
See, can I respond to that? I think this is a very American and actually a very modern concept that action, aggression, dominance, and those kind of things are like the most important things in life, which is actually what
didn't ask
feminine.
you anything about
Hold on a second.
important things in life.
Hold on, I'm getting to. Hold on, I'm getting to it. I'm
Answer
getting
my
to it.
question. Who does the dead animal belong to at that
Well,
point?
it's kind of a stupid question.
Well,
You're
I'm a
saying
stupid
because
guy,
the
I
man
guess, so I'm
tried
asking
hard
you
to get
tell
that
me,
food.
Please stop obfuscating. I'm asking you, who does the animal belong to that he went out, he risked his life and limb, and he killed the wildebeest?
Dane, two more minutes. Go ahead, Grace.
I believe it belongs to him, his wife, and his children equally.
Why?
I'm not sure what to tell you.
I'm asking you,
He has
what
a duty to
logical
his wife and
reason-
children. He has a
what
duty
logical-
to his wife and children to provide food for them so that they survive. Just like the woman has
She's
the woman
providing
has
what?
the duty
She's
to give
providing what?
birth to children, which in primitive times was extremely dangerous,
is
and
he
many women
providing?
died in childbirth.
He is
But
providing
once again,
what?
we have equality
He's
there.
providing what? What is he providing?
The woman provides children, the man provides
I
food
didn't
for the
ask you
children
what
to
the
eat.
woman provided. I asked you, what is he providing?
If a woman gives birth, who does that child belong
Please don't
to?
ask the question. I'm asking you. Please
Grace,
stop.
is
I
answer the
already
question.
answered your question. I already answered it.
Tiger, can you mod it?
What
I already
is-
answered.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
What is
Sorry.
he providing?
The woman provides children, the man provides
I
food.
didn't ask you
They equally,
provided. Please
they
stop being
both equally
dishonest.
own all
Please
of it.
Stop being dishonest. What is he providing?
He's providing food.
Okay, where did he get that food? If he doesn't have the food, how can he provide it?
He went out and hunted it, like you just said.
So how is it that food is not his property that he shared with his wife and children? How is his
And that
wife?
would make the children that woman births her property that she shares with the husband, and that's not true. If a man
She
and a
didn't go
woman are in a
kidnap those
relationship,
children. She didn't go steal those children from the woods. She didn't go find.
I mean, if you want to say that, if you want to say that it belongs to the man, I just don't think that's true. A man has a duty. Animals also.
You don't think
Animals
it's
go
wrong.
out and
I
get
know you
food
don't
for
think
their
it's
children, and
wrong.
animals
You're
go
just
out and get
wrong,
food
'cause-
for their children and bring it back to their children.
Who does?
Does that mean the animal, when a lion kills a deer, does that mean the lion owns the deer and
Yes,
brings it back to
yes,
share?
Yes.
Okay, well, if
don't
you think
the
that a lion can own a
when-
deer,
Can
then
I
I
answer the
have nothing
question?
else to say
Look,
to you.
You can't just talk
A
over me,
lion
ma'am. All
can't
you're
own a
talking to
deer.
me-
Yeah,
dude.
one mic at a time. One mic at a
Yeah.
time. Come
A
on.
lion
Answer the
can't
question.
own
Can I
a
answer
deer.
it?
You just
Can
said
I
a
answer your
lion can
question?
own a
Can I
deer.
answer
I don't know
your
what to tell
question?
you.
You can't just talk over me, darling. I got shoes
Hey,
over
hey,
you.
Dane, we gotta end it with that. Good. So what we're gonna do is each person that comes up, good questions, Dane, good questions. Each person that comes up, we gotta honor Grace's time as well. Please, when you come up, be concise, make your point, make your argument, and then you can go back and forth with Grace. But everyone that comes up, 3 minutes tops. I gave Dane about 5 minutes, so he was the first one. So Dane, you were special there. But everyone else, you get a total of 3 minutes to come up to ask myself a question. And Tyga, can you just keep track of the time?
I got the timer right here. Yep.
3 minutes to ask myself a question or to ask Grace a question. And let's bring up Ryan. He's next in here. 1 second. Okay. Go ahead, Ryan. The floor is yours.
Good thing. What's up, Cooley, Tiger, Edge Grace? What's up? My question, I guess, would be, why do women want a man's trophy so badly? Because they'll go to any lengths to have the man's trophy and kind of disrespect the man in the process.
Is this a question for me, I assume?
Yes, please.
What do you mean by man's trophy? What does that mean?
Okay, well, like, it seems as if, though, that, like, I see the last example, like, the man went out and acquired something, the women want it, and they just want to, like, short circuit the process of return and not give back anything. Largely, you know.
But it, like, a woman, like, if we want to go to primitive times, if a woman gives birth in primitive times, it's a very risky, dangerous process, and many women died early due to childbirth. So she gives that, the man gets food. It's an equal relationship. They're both risking their life, if you want to talk about primitive times, and they're both giving something to each other and their children, which they produce together.
Well, you said that she gives them.
It's not a conflictual relationship.
You said she gives the man children as if it's like the man's property now. Like the man has like a, I don't know. I just find it odd because, you know, in the future, there's a good chance that there will be opportunities to extend lifespan. And so I don't know. It seems like women kind of have they feel like they solved the game and they're like, okay, well, y'all shit out. And we plan to make a claim on that. And it's like, well, what's the real purpose? Because women will study a man and discard him so quickly, whether it's like successfully pass the test, I guess, or however it goes.
I mean, I agree that many women today are selfish. They take and they don't give. But I think that's to their own detriment. But I agree with you. Like, I don't, like, I think a lot of women are just greedy, selfish monsters with daddy issues. I agree. Yeah,
that's right. So, but I mean, like, so is there a solution, do you think? Because if there's a lot of guys like my age that actually have something going for them, and because the substance sort of gets in the way of real communication possibilities that women love to have a little toxicity flowing through, what's the solution, I guess?
Yeah, Ryan, real quick. This has real quick, Ryan, this has nothing to do with the topic of the debate. So another thing, when people come in, please stick with the topic of the debate. But I let it go on because I've never seen you before. It's your first time up, so I'm giving you some grace. But
what's the topic of the debate? I'm sorry.
Come on, man. You wasn't watching. The topic of the debate is marriage a partnership and equal? But is his time up, Tyga, or what?
It's got about 40 seconds.
We'll give you a minute, Ryan, if you wanted to ask Grace or myself a specific question in regards to the topic. You got 1 minute.
He asked me a question, which is, how do you deal with these toxic women? The answer is that women have to radically reconnect to their fathers. Their fathers are the only men who can give them the affection they need without sex being part of it. And if they don't do that, they need to please, serve, and obey their fathers. And if they don't do that, then they're cooked. So women who have daddy issues are cooked. They need to do that at whatever age they are. If they don't do that, I have no sympathy for them.
Understood.
All right. Let's bring up the next person. Let's go ahead and remove Ryan. And anyone else that wants to come up, just click the first link in the description. I'm sorry, the first link in the YouTube comments if you want to come up and ask myself or Grace any questions in regards to this debate that we had. Once again, the topic of the debate is marriage a partnership and is it equal? You have 3 minutes, so come up, be concise, ask the question, and then, make your argument. Also, everybody we're live on Facebook. We're closing down a Facebook stream. So everybody that's tuning in on Facebook, we got a lot of people. Come on over to YouTube. That's No Fugazee Podcast on YouTube. Come on over to YouTube now. The Facebook stream is closing now. Okay. All right. Here's the next person. Let me honor the mod. So let me honor the mods first in here. So we got Kid. Go ahead.
How we doing tonight, everybody?
How's it going, man?
Hi.
Okay, so just have a simple question. Back on the debate, you said I want to talk about the weight. You said that's your main focus was what the weight is between duties and stuff like that. So if
Is
we
that
take
for me?
away,
Are you
this
asking
is
me?
for you. This is for you because you were talking about weight, weight, right? That's what your main contention was. So if we take away children out of the whole entire debate part, because not all marriages have children, there are plenty of marriages that do not have children. So men have a duty to protect, which you agreed on, correct?
Yeah.
So being that a man has to risk his life, what duty is equal in weight to risking your life?
The woman making that man's life worth living. But I
What?
would just say that
So
a
hold on,
marriage
hold on.
without children is not a marriage. But okay.
But
Putting that aside.
so if a woman is unable to have children and is married, that's not a marriage?
Oh no, if she's infertile, I thought you meant when they're choosing not to have children.
Whether they choose to or not is irrelevant to the point of what I'm making.
The primary purpose of marriage is children. So if you're not having
Well,
children,
if a gay marriage isn't primary purpose of children.
gay marriage is not marriage, but okay.
Again, that's a secular marriage, though. You said secular marriages count.
I don't believe gay marriage is a marriage.
It's whether you believe it or not is irrelevant to the point of that I'm making, because there are plenty of people who acknowledge that as a point. So whether you think it is or not doesn't matter. But again, there are plenty of marriages that do not have children. Whether they can have children, choose not to have children, again, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because it's still a marriage.
The primary purpose of a marriage is children. The secondary purpose is mutual support and love.
It doesn't matter what the purpose of the marriage is. You're still married. Whatever your purpose of getting married is individual to the person. There's no specific reason for getting married that is universal. Everybody has their own reason for getting married.
No, that's modern, that's feminist, there's a specific purpose and qualifications you have to meet to be able to be married. 100%.
Right, but when you started this topic, you said it could be a secular marriage or it could be a religious marriage. So I'm taking away the religious aspect. Take away the religious aspect. I'm not talking about that. So get that out of your head, because that's not what I'm talking about. Let's talk about secular marriage, which you qualified. That's fine. How can you be equal if a man is risking his life and there's no life risking for a woman? How is that equal?
Well, there are ways that women risk their lives, but apart from that, I would say it's equal because the man risks his life and the woman makes his life worth risking. So it's
makes his life worth risking, so the woman can live on and the man can die, and that makes it equal. You are absolutely crazy to think that.
Well, they're not the same, but they're of equal
importance. But the same is equal. Equal means the same according to you.
No, equal does not. Equal means the same weight, not identical traits.
But how does that hold the same weight? How does death hold the same weight over not death?
Sorry to interject here, but that was 3 minutes. Do we want to give a little bit more time to members, or how do you want to handle that, Cooley?
He's a member, so we'll go ahead and give it 2 more minutes, and Grace, you can answer his questions, and Kid, you can.
Yeah, it's just one simple question. In a secular marriage where a woman has no duty to put her life up at risk for the man, and a man still has the duty to protect the woman, which can involve losing his life, how is that equal?
I just think they have different roles. They have
different roles does not make equal. You said equal. Marriage has to be equal. How is death not?
Here's my question. So you're saying if a woman had to risk her life to protect her man, just like a man has to risk his life.
That's not a woman's duty. Women don't risk their life. If a guy comes in the door to protect the house, a woman's not going downstairs. The husband is.
Okay. I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm saying that you're saying that if I said both sides need to protect each other and risk their life in doing so.
No. I didn't say that.
You're not letting me finish my
man.
point.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that you said that.
Land her plane.
Okay.
You're saying, according to my logic, hey, Grace, according to your logic, if a man and a woman both risk their lives to defend each other, that would be equal. But because a man does and a woman doesn't, it's unequal. My point is, a man does different things than a woman, including risking his life. That doesn't mean that they are of unequal importance. And I would say the relationship
but
is.
that's
I got you,
that still
Grace.
doesn't answer my question.
Let me bridge the gap. And Grace, what he's saying is, since it isn't equal because it's different roles, is there a role on the woman's end that's equal to the man risking his life, putting his life on the line? And what role is that?
Making his life worth living in the first place.
That is the stupidest answer I've ever heard and did not answer the
Warming
question.
him,
What does
loving
that
him,
mean?
nurturing, bringing him children, cooking for him, creating a home for him. All of those things are worth defending. That's why he does it. It's mutual.
No, but Grace, there's even in our debate, even in our discussion, there's many men that stay in marriages and the woman does not adhere to their duties at all, and they still continue to stay. So it's not comparable.
Women are failing.
Well, think about it. So since the distinction is...
So if women are failing, that means it's not equal then, correct, right?
No, people can fail. That doesn't mean the theory of marriage is unequal. People can fail.
Yeah,
right.
Grace,
So if someone is failing in a marriage, that means that someone is not holding their own weight, right?
Yeah,
if someone is failing in a marriage.
And Wicked, I made the same argument to her.
Then that it's unequal, but that doesn't mean the theory of marriage is at its ideal level is an unequal partnership. So one person can fail and therefore make it unequal. Sure.
Okay, but still, if we go back to my original point of how is it the same weight? Just because it's the same weight of making somebody worth living. Anybody just making somebody happy holds the same weight as somebody risking their life, potentially dying.
Giving them a reason to risk their life is the reciprocity of them.
I think them wanting to live themselves is their own reason worth
Grace,
having their own life.
The distinction is this. Wicked, real quick. The distinction is this, Grace. This is what he's saying. The woman doesn't have to give a reason, and the man would still risk his life. There's many men in sexless marriages where the woman doesn't even submit to them. They don't even follow the lead. And that man would still take a bullet and risk his life. That still happens. We actually see it. But Grace, what I'm saying is we actually see it in reality. Since we can see this happening in reality, can you give something that's equal in reality to the woman's end instead of saying, well, giving the man something worthwhile to risk his life for? That's not equal.
So just to clarify real quick, if we were married and I said that you have to risk your life for me and I'm just going to make you smile, that would be equal.
Well, it's what you're agreeing to in the...
Yes or no?
These are the natural duties. No, I would not agree to that. I don't think it's my job as a woman.
Why? Because is that equal? But is that equal?
Wait a second. Actually, if we were married, of course, as a woman, I would risk my life for you if it was necessary. I would. If I loved you,
No. You have to risk your life for me. The only thing I have to do for you is just make you happy.
Well, men don't have to risk their lives. They can choose to fail.
But that's equal, right? If all I do is make you happy, that's worth making you want to live your life according to you. So my duty is to just make you happy, and your duty is to die for me.
That makes my life way more
right. So So if I make you happy, you have to die for me, and that's how it should be, and that's equal, right?
You're misunderstanding something. Men don't have to die for their women and children.
It's a logical entailment of what can happen.
And it is an extreme circumstance.
It is more likely for a man to die defending a woman. It is more likely for it to happen than not happen.
So let me bring up. Let's finish this here. Let's bring up some other people because we got a lot of people back here. Good arguments, Grace. And I got a question for you, Grace, in regards to this, real quick too, and then I'll bring up someone else. Is the man's duty contingent on the woman's duty? Because essentially, that's what you're saying. Like, if the man is risking his life, then the woman is doing something so that it's worth risking his life. So is that contingent on the man's? Like, is the man's duty contingent on the woman's duty? Just a question that I had.
No, both parties should fulfill their duties equally because they're held accountable by God. So if they fail, it doesn't give the other person the right to fail either.
Got it. So if it's not contingent, if the man's duty isn't contingent on the wife's duties, then therefore the man risking his life is not equal to the man giving the man something to risk his life for.
No, that's not true. Either side can fail, and the other side doesn't have the right to fail.
But yeah, each side can fail, and you're saying that they don't have the right to fail? That's what you said?
if you are a husband and your wife is failing, you have a duty to be a good husband despite that, and vice versa.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. But the distinction is you have to, and what, during the debate, you never gave me anything. You pretty much said the same thing you said the kid as well. What's equal to the man risking his life? You just saying that, well, giving the man something to risk his life for, that is not equal to actually risking the life. Because since it's not contingent for the man still has to do his duties anyway. Since the man's duty isn't contingent on the woman's duty, then what's going to be equal? We have to draw a clear distinction.
Okay, you're saying that risking your life is the highest thing a person can do. So by your logic,
sacrifice.
A police officer should be the most esteemed person in society because police officers risk their lives in return for money, right?
No. Sacrifice is give me a higher duty other than sacrifice.
Police officer. Well, how come you'll defend people in exchange for what?
Grace,
money?
give me a higher duty. Grace, no one's speaking about money. Grace, give me a higher duty.
We're making a police officer.
No, Grace, no one's speaking about money. The husband doesn't receive any
money.
Hard
for you to understand
that's a poor analogy, Grace.
In exchange for something
Grace,
else.
it's a poor analogy. Give me a higher duty and a higher purpose other than sacrifice. Someone sacrificing their life.
There are many higher purposes than risking your life.
Okay, so Jesus Christ sacrificing his life for us, that is the ultimate sacrifice. We would have to say that the sacrifice, think about it, in the Old Testament, they were stop it, Grace, listen.
One mic at a time.
Let me land my plane. In the Old Testament, why were they sacrificing lambs and putting the blood across their door and stuff like that? Because the sacrifice was looked at as, well, the highest good, like the highest thing, the highest good, sacrificing something. But Jesus Christ came and gave his life for us, which is now the highest sacrifice. So therefore, we don't have to kill lambs and wipe the blood across the thing. So sacrifice is the highest good, which means that the man's duty is to sacrifice his life. We need something that's equal on the woman's end.
You're making a mistake here. Jesus Christ sacrificed his life. He didn't risk his life like a police officer risks his life.
Your analogy does not map on. No one's granting that analogy for police officers risking life and doing it for money. We're speaking about the husband and the wife.
Should be willing to sacrifice for each other in different ways. The woman risks death during childbirth. The man risks death during protecting every day in their household. In modern society, the threat of death on either side is very, very, very low. I'm not sure what's so hard to understand about that.
The wife does not have to have any kids. That is not a duty that the wife has to have kids, but it is a duty. It isn't a duty. There's many Christians that get married and they don't have any children due to XYZ reasons.
If you do not have children out of choice, you're not married. That is the point of a marriage. It's very simple.
No, once again, there's many situations where the husband and the wife do not have any children.
That's
right?
not a marriage.
What are you talking about this? Okay, so if the woman is infertile and she can't have any children, is it a marriage?
If it's out of choice.
Okay, but what I'm saying to you, if it's within not having the choice, like she just is infertile or whatever the circumstances are, you would still acknowledge that it's a marriage. Right?
Yes, obviously an infertile woman.
Okay, so listen, let me just land the plane and we bring someone else up. Okay, in this circumstance, right, the wife does not have any children. What is her sacrifice to the man risking his life? Because his duty is to protect her, which is if in case something happens, he's putting his life on the line. What's equal to the man putting his life on the line? That's the woman's duty. What can the woman do that's equal to that? Nothing, Grace. Just concede the point. You haven't brung it up with me. You haven't brung it up with... It's much easier just to concede the point.
No, I will not concede the point. Risking your life. Both sides sacrifice.
All right, let me bring up somebody else. Fair
different
enough.
Things.
Hey, real quick, dude,
sacrifice
you mind if I
different
just run, take a bathroom break real quick? I'll be back in like less
Yeah, Tiger. Yeah, you've been chilling. Yeah, go ahead, do your thing. I'll bring up. I'll
If
bring
a
up
man,
someone else real quick.
if a man
be right
doesn't
back.
want to risk his life, if a man doesn't want to defend his family, don't have
Grace,
a family. It's
let me
simple.
just bring up another caller. I just wanted to have the back and forth with you real quick because of
Wait, can I ask you a simple question? Do you think it's easy to submit to another person?
Grace, one second. Hold that question. We're trying to bring up some callers. Just remember it. I'll answer it. But hey, welcome to No Fugazee Podcast. You look like Dane Snyder's wife. Shout outs to you. What questions do you have for me or Grace? No audio.
Okay, another old person here forgot to unmute.
And you got 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, so I don't think I ramble quite as much as Dane, but I just the first thing I want to say is I know you probably feel like you're getting dogpiled right now, Grace. But my goal in speaking to you is to hopefully impart a little bit of wisdom. I'm 53 years old. Danny and I have been married for 34 years now, and happily married, raised 5 children, been through thick and thin. And I understand why, from your perspective and at your age, where you're at in your life, why you may think and feel the things that you do about the equality of marriage. But I just think that you're off base, and I think this. My hope is that you'll come away and maybe look at things you feel and believe. So I've worked for 18 years in a refinery, made very good living. Had I lost that income at any point in our marriage, it would have been a big struggle. And I actually did end up having to retire last year. In society, even though I made that amount of money, when I did have to retire early, or had I lost my job at any time up to that, when we still had young children at home, I don't know of anyone, even the most rabid feminist, who would have looked at me and said, you need to go get another job like that. All of society would have looked at my husband.
I'm not sure what your point is. I'm just not sure what your point is.
That people give mouth service to the fact that it's a partnership, but no one has ever or will ever look at me and say that I should have taken up the slack there. They would have expected my husband to do that.
Are you saying
does that not give some weight to the fact that, yes, we're equal in value as human beings to God, but our roles in the relationship and in society are different?
Like the expectations, you're saying that the expectations are different.
Exactly. I mean, no one expects me to get up and fight off the burglar in the middle of the night.
But I'm not sure how does that contradict? I think
she's basically saying that the expectations aren't equal between men and women.
They're not identical.
I'm just saying, how do you justify that those things that our roles are equal when there's very clearly much more severe penalties and consequences for a man in the relationship if he doesn't hold up his end of the bargain? I just don't understand.
I'm not sure what
how
you mean by
can
penalties and consequences. I believe that both you and your husband have equal responsibilities while having different roles within your marriage.
But they're not equal.
They're not the same. That doesn't mean they're not equal.
Nobody expects me to get up in the middle of the night and
they're
fight.
not the same. You don't seem to be understanding. Equal doesn't mean identical.
Not understanding. No, I don't. I understand completely what you're saying. I don't agree. Just because I don't agree with you does not mean that I don't understand what you're saying. I'm just saying I don't agree.
Hey,
because it's clearly
the time
different to say that,
Mrs. Snyder, the time is up, so we want to bring some other people up.
I agree.
We want to get some other people up. So Grace, I'll let you.
They aren't different.
Grace, I'll let you get the last point. Go ahead, Grace.
Men and women are obviously different, and there's different expectations of both of them in a marriage. Nobody expects a man to get pregnant and have children and breastfeed. Nobody expects that. So like they're different. My point is, it's just as important to risk your life as to bring life in. It's just as important to provide as to have something to provide for. It's equal. And if you think you are not equal to your husband in terms of importance in the marriage, there's something very seriously wrong there.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that I was not as important.
I'm saying okay, so we got to get some more people up here. We got to get some more people up here. Appreciate you. We got to get some more people up here. And also to the people that's coming up, be aware that her definition of equal it includes three factors. It's importance, equal in importance, equal in value, and then equal in the weight. So once again, if you're just going to come up and just ask Grace a question like, oh, it's not equal, she's going to be able to refute the point by saying, well, she doesn't agree under how you're explaining that it's equal anyway. You got to like grant the argument and then defeat it within the root of how she believes it's equal. So that's just to give you guys some pointers, because a lot of people come up and I guess you're not debaters. This is why I won the debate, because that was my plan, to grant the argument and refute it. So for the people that come up, be mindful of that. You got to grant her position. Just don't come up or she's going to actually make you look silly, because she does a good job. I'll give Grace some grace on that. She does a good job as far as adhering to her specific definition. And if you give anything outside of her definition, she's going to make you look silly by saying that men and women aren't equal. But that doesn't mean, well, by saying that men and women are different, that doesn't mean that they're not equal, because that's her distinction. There's this distinction between differences and equal, right, Grace? Did I still mean it correctly?
There's a distinction between identical and of equal importance.
Yeah, equal importance. And the importance, the value, and the weight. Therefore, okay, so people that come up, just be aware of that. Okay,
I would never claim that men and women are identical. Obviously, we're not. And our roles are not identical either, but they are of equal importance. It's a very simple point, I think. But okay.
Got it. So it's a little semantics there, chat. So when you come up, fellas and women, just be prepared to, to tackle that as well. Let's bring up, who's next? Okay, one second here. Let me go ahead and...
Just to be clear, you still want me to be timing 3 minutes per person, right?
Yeah, if you could time 3 minutes, man, because they may ask me a question too, and I can't do both. Okay, we got this guy is next. And also, if you want to go ahead and ask myself or Grace a question in regards to this debate, it has to be specific to this topic. Is marriage a partnership, and is it equal? This guy's next. The floor is yours. Go ahead, Tiger. You can start the timer.
Okay, it's working. Is my mic working? Making sure.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So, I don't know how you could think marriage would be partnership or equal when it's clearly defined hierarchy. Like even under your definition of equal, as far as with importance, weight, and value. Mm-hmm. While I can agree that a husband would value and appreciate his wife upholding her duties as much as she is appreciating him upholding his duties and whatnot, that still doesn't mean these things are actually equal and even under all your purviews that you give. To society at large and to the actual real world consequences of these things being completed, the feeling between the husband and wife, it would be mutual probably. But at the end of the day, if the husband stops doing what he needs to do, that could be the breakdown of everything. Again, someone could come and destroy the family physically with extreme violence. If he doesn't stop it, that's it. That's the end. If he stops providing money, probably he'll get just left. The family gets broken up. And society even views that, just like the woman said earlier, about that society and herself and everyone else looked at her husband to get a job to pick up the slack. No one actually values these things as equal, not even God himself. He already gave the hierarchy. Christ, husband, wife, children. I mean, even if we extend it to everything, the child will have.
Sorry, I don't mean to interject here, but is there a question in here somewhere? Or...
I'm just going. I'm just bringing this down, just to finish it off. If there's this hierarchy that's there, and nobody in society views it that way, not even God views it as having of equal importance, weight, or value. How can you really argue this assertion if you're Christian?
Because I think a hierarchy can exist in terms of roles or decision making, and the two parties can still be equal. And my example was a tennis player and a tennis coach. The coach makes all the decisions, but they are both equal in weight, value, and importance in the relationship. Although he makes the decisions and can tell her even more than a husband would tell his wife, like what to eat, what to wear, when to sleep, how to work out, how to use her body in all these different ways. So decision making does not imply being more important. Hierarchy of authority does not equal fundamental inequality.
Oh, I mean, that's just kind of a contradiction. I'm sorry, it just is. That's an A. It's not A. If there's a hierarchy, there's a clear, defined difference between them, which would delineate differences between all of those factors you gave.
I agree. There's a difference between them. I never said there wasn't a difference between them.
3 minutes.
Okay. I'll let you guys, because I just came in. Any little last points, both of you, real quick.
If you have two friends and one of you makes the decisions and the other one goes along with it, does that mean that you're unequal? No, it just means one of you has the decision making.
Yeah, that would mean one's the leader.
Okay, but does that make you unequal in terms of power or value in the relationship? Sorry, not power. Does that make you unequal in terms of value, importance, or weight in the relationship?
I would say so if one is submitting, yes. But also read Matthew. Which was it? It is because he said something goofy about divorce as well. When in Matthew it describes what permits for a divorce. That also bugged me. But
okay, well, I don't think if I'm with a friend and I say, hey, let's go to this bar, and she's like, yeah, because I'm more decisive and she's more submissive. That doesn't mean that I'm more important than her in the friendship.
Yeah, she thinks you're more important. She thinks you're more important.
She just thinks I'm better at making decisions. She doesn't think I'm more important.
Okay, then we'll just leave it at that.
All right.
Making decisions is not more important than following those decisions. They're mutual and reciprocal.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I guess we'll leave it at that. Thank you for the questions, and I'll bring up the next caller.
See ya.
Peace. Where we at? Let's go with this guy. Welcome to No Fugazee Podcast. You can go ahead and ask a question to myself or Grace. Tiger, you got the timer?
Yep, 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Shout out to the best podcast on the internet, man. So, Grace.
No Fugazi.
So, Grace, would you say that in the kingdom, the most important person in the kingdom is the king?
Would I say what do you mean by important?
The most important person in the kingdom. The kingdom cannot keep going without the king.
In a kingdom, the kingdom cannot keep going without the king. I would say he's at the top of the hierarchy, if that's what you're saying. Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about hierarchy. I'm talking about importance.
Yeah, I think a king would be pretty important for a kingdom. Yeah.
All right. And what about value? Does the king have the most value in the kingdom?
As a human being, no.
Not as a human being, as
the kingdom.
In the kingdom, there are different ranks and different values. You have the king, the queen, the advisor.
Is he at the top of the hierarchy? Yes, he is.
We're not talking about hierarchy. We're not talking about authority. We're talking about value.
Okay, I'll grant you that. He has the most value. He's the most important. He has the most value.
Has the most value. So is he responsible for making sure that everybody get what they need in the kingdom?
Just to some extent, yes.
So that would mean he has the most weight also in the kingdom, right?
Yes.
So with that being said, if he dies, does the queen take over or do they get a new king?
Sometimes the queen takes over, like Queen Elizabeth. Sometimes they get a new king. It depends on their government system.
All right, so let's say chess. You ever play chess? In the chess game,
yeah.
If the queen dies, the chess game still goes on. But if the king dies, that's the end of the game. That's checkmate. So how is the wife equal to the husband if the queen is not equal to the king in value or importance or weight?
Because you're comparing a system of government to a relationship. A system of government always has one person who is in charge.
But Grace, you compared the system of a company to a relationship.
Yeah, I said they weren't comparable. They're not comparable. They're not similar. You said they were similar. I said they weren't similar.
No.
Government is not a system of government. It's dynamic.
A monarchy is a system of government.
But it's the dynamic is what I'm looking at. You're talking about the government, but we're talking deeper than the government. We're talking about the dynamic itself. in the dynamic, there is somebody who's most important in the family dynamic. The father,
Mm,
would you say that the father is the most important in the family?
no,
That's 3 minutes.
So, so is the daughter
no,
equal to the father? Is the daughter equal to the father?
no.
Okay, so the daughter who's not equal to the father goes off to marry another man, which is the father giving the daughter to another man. He
Mm-hmm.
now becomes her father. So they're still not
No.
equal. Yeah,
No,
that's
no, no.
biblical.
No, no. A marriage is not a new man becoming her father. No, no. She gets daddied and then she stops being daddied and she becomes a partner with a man. He's not her new daddy. That's unhealthy. That's a
Not,
Jesse Lee
but
Peterson way
hold
of
on.
saying
So when
seeing
you're
it.
when you're sleeping with the
No.
guy, when you're sleeping with a guy, you don't call him daddy.
Well, I might, but that doesn't mean he has that I might, but that doesn't
All
mean
right,
he's not my
SMG,
new
good
daddy.
points, good points,
He's not my
Grace.
new
I
daddy.
got one more thing though. I got one more
Nah, nah,
thing.
nah. If it's to me, then yeah, you could ask it, but we got to
No,
get more people, and we got a lot of
it's not
people.
even about that dynamic. It's about the whole baby thing they were talking about earlier. It's just a simple question.
Well, can I ask you a question? When a man gets married to a woman, is she his new mommy?
No, we don't call y'all mommy in
Well,
that
some of
sense.
you do. But
We don't
that
call
being
y'all
Yeah,
mommy
besides
in
the
that
simps
point.
sense.
do. Yeah.
Besides the point. Does she become his new mommy?
No, a
Okay, so
mommy
he
is
doesn't
a.
become her daddy. She doesn't become his mommy. They're just both partners. They're more
I'll
like
let you
brothers
have
and
that. I'll let
sisters.
you have that. I'll let
They're
you
So,
more
have
like
that.
yeah,
brothers
let
and
me let
sisters.
me let me bring some other people up.
Hold on,
Essentially,
I
real
got one
quick,
thing though.
not
One thing before the.
You
SMG. You
already
got to
got
bring
one
more
thing,
people
man.
up,
Come
man.
on.
You already did your one thing, man. You already did your one thing. Essentially, Grace, what he was saying though, when he's making the correlation of the husband's duty to the wife and the father's duties to the children, basically he's saying that it's the same duties. Like the duties doesn't change, right? The
Yeah,
only
so that's
the
not
only
true.
thing, well, if you can give me besides sex, the aspect of sex, uh, if you can give, another duty, that was his correlation basically. That was why he was saying that. But let's bring up, we got
Are
Ashley
you asking me for
backstage.
something that a wife does that children do not?
Okay.
You got
My
Tiger, you
que-
ready?
Yep. 3 minutes.
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, Ashley, you can
Okay.
ask a question to Grace or myself.
Okay. My question is, if the guy provide for you, how you gonna appreciate it?
Who is this question for? You, Grace?
For Grace, I'm so
Oh,
sorry. How
okay.
you gonna appreciate it? How you gonna give it back? Because he provide for you. So what you gonna give to him?
Make him feel good in the bedroom. Give him kids. I don't know. There's lots of ways to show your
And
appreciation as a woman.
not kids. There's another way. There's a lot of ways. Not only
Sure.
baby. Not only on the bedroom. You can give him like emotionally if he need you emotionally, or he
Sure,
want you
yeah.
to submit to him and prepare food for him and
Sure.
serve for him.
Yeah, yeah, sure. There's
So
lots of
are you
ways to
gonna
make
do
him.
that?
Yes, as a wife, you should do all those things. Yes.
Not should, but it's like it's with your heart. Like you do that from your heart. Not should because y'all married.
I'm not married, but if I was married, I would hope that I would do that genuinely. Yes.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Thank you for the answer.
Okay.
That's a fair answer. That's a fair answer. I like that. Thank
Okay.
you. That's it.
Thank
That's
you.
the answer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that's
good
the
job.
question.
Okay.
Okay.
Ashley, is that all you had?
Yeah, it's just me because I was like listening earlier, like earlier I am listening. You didn't get the other question, so I'm just like specifically questioning if being equal, if you gonna be equal of what your husband gonna do for you, and you did same for your husband, like that, to be equal, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That basically is the point I'm making. Yeah, he brings you something,
Yeah.
you show
So
him love and appreciation.
that's
Yeah.
the point. That's the point earlier that they were saying, but you are saying other things earlier. So that's their point. Like if the guy provide for you, how you gonna appreciate it? What you gonna do? So you will do it fairly. So that's what their point. That's what everybody's point.
Okay.
Now you are answering the question. You have a point now. Earlier you don't have a point, so thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay. And I'm just curious, Ashley, where are you calling from?
I am from Philippines, but actually I am here in America right now. I'm in
Oh,
Virginia.
okay. All right, chat. Y'all wildin', man. Y'all in the chat talking about y'all cold and ice, man. Chill out, chat. Y'all wildin'. But I appreciate the support and the question, Ashley. Have a blessed
Yeah,
one.
thank you. I'm just making a point, you know.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
know.
but
Thanks
now
for
she
calling
get it.
in.
Now you get it. Thank you.
All right. Yo,
I love
chat be
Ashley.
wildin', bro.
I love
Chat
Ashley.
be wildin'. Who else we got in here next?
She was so cute. Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, Tiger. What? You was gonna say something?
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna. Can you guys hear it when like my phone goes off with the timer? Because I hate being like the douchebag. Like, hey, you got 30 seconds. Can
Yeah,
you
nah,
Not
we
hear it?
can't.
really.
We can't hear it. So you
Not
gotta let
really.
us
No.
know. Just interrupt.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
interrupt.
All
Yeah.
right. I'll interrupt. Okay.
All right. So we got a few more people in here. Let's. Okay, we got. Welcome to the show, man. Any questions for myself or Grace?
Yeah, hold on, Kool-Aid. I was on the phone with Ice. Let me get a ball. All right, shout out. Nah, I'm messing with it. Yo, shout outs to her though. Shout outs to you, Grace. My question is for Grace, and it's really just a conversation because I ain't about to argue with Grace. But
Okay. I
so
prefer
quick
those.
question.
I prefer those.
Yeah. But it would, I guess let's just see. So you said the government, corporations, and all these things are just what did you say? You were saying they were organizations and something like that. When that last caller was talking about.
I said a king that's part of a monarchy, which is a system of government that
Okay, bet.
um
Yeah.
you know.
And then the corporations got brought up. What I was gonna just say also is those are all human relations. So whether
Yeah.
we talk about marriage or we talk about a king, we talk about a government, they won't exist if there's no humans. So they're all just how humans decide to relate to each other. And so it does connect to relationships, romantic relationships, platonic relationships, because it's all just how humans decide to relate to each other. Going into the partnership, I do agree that it is partnership because if you read the definition of partnership, it's just having a conversation about resources allocated and etc. So, and that arrangement is etched out between two people. So, the next question I would say is when it comes to women's responsibility, let's say in a marriage, right? Do you believe provision is a part of that also?
I'm not sure what do you mean by provision.
Provision and getting food, getting money, capital for the family. Do you believe that's
Um
a responsibility?
I mean, I think it can vary. It depends on the relationship the man and woman has, but people always say like they want to be like a Proverbs woman. I think that's the right reference. And the woman in that in that verse, in those verses, she works, she creates things, she goes to the market, she barters, she's established, she's successful. So I don't think that women should necessarily not contribute in terms of money and income, but it depends on the relationship. I mean, if the guy has a really high paying job, maybe she doesn't need to or whatever. But yeah, does that answer your
Okay.
question?
Yeah. No. That's just what I want to know because some people say, okay, man's responsibility is protection and provision, right? And then
Hmm.
let's say a woman saying mine's is
You got about 30
produce.
seconds.
So that's what I was asking. Do you believe that they're also a part of provision also?
Well, I would use the yin yang symbol. Like, the woman is mostly white with a little black, and the man is mostly black with a little white. They can both participate in each other's roles, of course. Like, they're not completely different. They have similarities.
Okay.
So they
Yeah,
can, yeah,
okay.
one way or
Yeah.
the
I was
other.
trying to see where you came down on that because one of the things, and because I only got a couple of seconds left, I just say most people get misconceived is that hunter gatherers. So it's always been a responsibility of both parties to provide food and resources, not just one. Most of the world today is still etched out with women working. They always have worked because humans have always struggled to survive. So
Yeah,
sometimes we
yeah.
get lost in that and we just think, I'm making the money and she's just at home raising children. No,
Yeah, I
everybody's
agree.
children are even working.
That is a ridiculous
Children are
way to
even
see it.
working. Out here in
Yeah.
Thailand, these kids are working. So shout outs
Yeah.
to you. Shout outs to the whole channel. And I'm still calling Ice at the end of the day because and unless she'll be a traditional wife and then I'll let her stay. Shout outs to everybody. Peace out, Grace.
Peace. All right. We got anyone else up here? We had two other people back here, but they went out. Okay, Grace. I don't see any super chats with any questions for you, so I guess I will let you go, and I'll go ahead and just wrap up myself and get to the super chats then.
Okay, yeah, fine.
Anything you want to shout out your channel or anything like that before you go?
Yeah, I'm live on Thorpe TV on YouTube right now. If you guys want to come say hi, I'm gonna discuss the debate and go over it and give my reaction and maybe have a panel. So, after Cooley wraps up or whatever, if you guys want to head over, I'd love to see some new faces. And I really appreciate the opportunity. Cooley didn't really know me. I only saw him one time on an open panel he had, so he kind of took a chance. I think we had a good conversation, and I had a fun time. So, bye, guys.
All right, peace. Thanks for coming. All right, Tiger. Good job moderating the debate, man. I think you were fair. I think you were pretty fair.
Best.
Yeah, you did your best, man. Good job. I'll go ahead and put you backstage, and I'll get to these super chats, and I'll give a few announcements because we do have some announcements that we have to go through for you guys, which I'm sure you all are going to want to hear. And then we'll go ahead and wrap up. But appreciate you, Tiger. Anything that you want to say before you go?
No, man, I'll get out of here. Thank you for having me.
Have a blessed one, man. All right. Big screen. Okay, so we got a few super chats that came in. We got Drunk Ghost. He joins the Hitman squad, and then Drunk Ghost also upgraded the membership to Mob Ties. So shouts out to him. We got Dane Snyder says in $5. Cooley's property tax or homeowners insurance must have gone up with all these streams he's doing this month. He said property tax. I always do these. I normally do like 3 or 4 streams a week, man. I do 3 or 4 streams a week, man. We got Chris sends in $2. Women who smoke. Ugh. Since he puts the throwing up emojis. We got Lord Geotron sends in $5. Cooley, you know full well marriage is an institution created by God himself. Secularists are the ones who are trying to destroy that institution. These are facts. Lord Geotron, these are facts. And once again, during the debate that me and Grace had, Grace, she, you guys heard the debate. I'm not going to speak while she's going or whatever, but you guys know the fallacies and the false equivalence that she done in regards to marriage, religion, and secularist marriage, which I pointed out right away, which then she kind of willed back on. She kind of took a back step on it. And then we spoke about pretty much the debate was, we spoke about the religious factors of marriage and the distinctions with the secular marriage. But in regards to her definition of marriage and how it's equal importance, equal value, equal weight, I fully dismantled her entire argument perfectly. So it was a fun debate. We got let's see here. The Saint, he says, you Grace Simps are stupid. This woman is insane. Okay. We got Triple H sends in $2. Bro, modern women are cooked, delusional. We got Triple H again sends in $2. Somebody buy this girl cats and tell her to leave. We got Dane Snyder sends in $2. Says Triple H, she doesn't need cats. She has her dad. We got Triple H again says Dane, her dad failed if she thinks this way. Yeah, the thing is, Grace's argument, she actually truly believes she was incapable of drawing a distinction between men and women being equal, the husband and the wife being equal, that marriage itself is equal. I drew clear distinctions that it isn't equal. I also proved it with statistics and evidence that shows that if the man doesn't adhere to his duty versus the woman not adhering to her duty, the effects of it is much different. it is much more detrimental to the marriage and to the children if the man does not adhere to his duties. Furthermore, the man can also adhere to his duties while simultaneously, I think I totally said that wrong, while at the same time doing his duties. Y'all gonna kill me in the chat. Listen, man, I've been streaming for a while. Mouth dry. My water ran out. So that's a clear distinction that shows that it is unequal. And she had no refutations for that argument or many of the arguments that I pushed forth. We got Brian Ross sends him $5. Shout outs to Grace. She's providing Cooley point the whole time. She really agree with him, but don't want to admit it. True. Yeah, I could see, even when we started the debate and I gave my opening, and that's the thing, backstage, I asked her, I said, hey, Grace, it's up to you. This is what I normally do when people, come on my show. Since it's on my platform, you get the privilege of choosing if you want to go first or if you want me to go first. She said, I'll have you go first. I said, okay, I'll go first. And then after I did my opening, she said, oh, wow, I didn't know that was going to be your argument. Those were going to be your points. And which means that she wasn't prepared for the type of debate she thought I was going to have. She thought like, oh, he's just some red pill guy. He's going to appeal to some secular type marriage and all of this other type of stuff, which no, there's a clear distinction. The church does not even recognize secular marriages, right? So, but anyways, we got Triple H again, says in $2. He says, I hate when women walk too much. I don't know what you mean. Like when women talk too much, like a dude. I'm not sure what you meant. Okay. We've got Triple H again. He says, I hate when women talk. Okay. I hate when women talk too much like a dude. Yeah, I don't like that either, man. Stop talking like a man. I don't even like it when women cuss. Like cussing is disgusting. Like, why are you supposed to be pure? You're supposed to be feminine. Don't cuss. That's disgusting. I don't even cuss and I'm a man. I'm a big old grown 6'4", 205-pound man, and I'm not using this vulgar language. Like you're a little 5'2" nothing woman. Why are you using vulgar language? You can't even defend your language anyway. So why cuss? Right? Like for a man to use vulgar language, at least he can defend the things that he says, or he has a chance to defend it. But women, you don't even stand a chance to defend the things that you say. So why cuss? I don't think it's feminine. I don't think it's pure. And part of femininity is to be pure, right? Untainted. So stop cussing, chicks. We got Brian Ross is in $2. He says, she's cooked. We got Yo Boy Leem. He sends him $5. He says, Grace, a.k.a. wannabe Andrew Wilson, got mocked by Cooley. 1-2 combo, biscuit, no water. She got emotional and got choked out. Yeah, man, it was a easy cook session. We got Brian Ross again, sends him $5. He says, all that beauty and no ring. We got Yo Boy Liam again. He sends him $5. He says, Dane looked like he about to say it's high noon. Okay. We got BB sends in $10. Vote 1 for best YouTube mustache personality and moderator. Get him, Tyga. All right. We got Saint Slang. Welcome to the gang. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate you for joining the membership. And anyone else, if you want to join the membership, you do see that you do get special privileges. When the members came up and asked a question, they got 5 minutes, which we gave Dane 5 minutes, and we gave, because he's a member, and we also gave What Kid Dreams 5 minutes, but to the other people, they only got 3 minutes. So that's one of the special privileges that you get when you're a member. So sign up, man. It's a dope community over here at No Fugazee Podcast. We got Clyde, the slug, sends in $2. He says, sorry, I like playing chess anytime, 24/7. We got What Kid Dreams sends in $5. Big W's for Cooley. Thanks for letting me cook her too. Yeah, it was an easy cook session. We got Tyga sends in $10. Shout outs to Cooley in the chat. I had a blast. Go give Grace a sub or at least go troll her after the show. and good fun, of course. We got Dane Snyder says in $20. One thing I love about your stream is that I can jank you like a real friend. Just seems like you're doing more streams this week than usual. But what do I know? Question. I'm just a dumb redneck. But I'm loving No Fugazi. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. And yeah, man. Listen, we ain't sensitive over here. We literally have roast sessions. Like if you become a member and you want to come up sometimes while I'm on stream, it's gonna be limited, but you can come up. We'll have a crack session. I roast yo boy Liam all the time. So yeah, man, we not sensitive over here. We down with all the jokes. We got Dane Snyder again, sends in $10. He says, if you had a wife or just hired you a dwarf, then you wouldn't run out of water. We got. Then he also says the generator just needs to get more acclimated with. Okay, your wife needs to get more. Your wife needs to get more acclimated with online debate format. Trust me, she can argue. Don't freak out on them. Yeah, no, she made a good point and stuff like that. But we just had a time limit for her. That's all. But yeah, no, she made a good point. She gave some good insight. Obviously, she's been married for many years to you. So it's always good to hear the perspective of a wife, a woman that's been married. She can clearly see the distinction between the duties and the things that is unequal between men and women, not just the differences, but the things that's unequal, even within Grace's own definition of equal, right? If you guys learn anything from the debate, when you're debating someone, two ways you can do it. You can grant their definition and then argue within their worldview, which I did, or you can not grant it and then, you'll be playing semantics, which is fine. Or they would have to grant your worldview and then you can, destroy him that way. But to make it more fun, I granted her worldview. Took a little time, but when it hit like the 30-minute mark, or I think it was like the 45-minute mark, she fully conceded everything, basically. And you guys could go back and watch it. We got Zandal sends in $2. She says, Cozy Hoodie Coolie is the best coolie W, sir. I appreciate you. Zandal. And we do have women that support the channel too, man. So we ain't misogynistic over here, man. But anyways, an announcement for all of you. So tonight is Thursday, October 9th, 2025. The next time you can see me will be this Saturday at 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with about 6 to 8 chicks doing a live panel dating show. So we got the girl show this Saturday. So tune in, everybody that's tuning in right now, this Saturday, 8:30 p.m. We got about 6 to 8 chicks coming, and it's going to be the dating show. So yeah, you're going to get some debates even in the dating show. You're going to get some fun, good conversations and a lot of good stuff. You guys know about the dating shows that I do, the girl shows. So that's going to be this Saturday. Then this Sunday, we don't have a stream. So no stream this Sunday. We got Saturday, we streaming. Sunday, no stream. Then we coming back on Monday with the open panel debate. And then on Wednesday next week, I'll be debating on Modern Day Debate. So it's my first time going to be on Modern Day Debate. So I'll be debating there Wednesday, but I will be streaming as well on my channel as well. I'm not even sure who I'm debating. Well, actually, I'll let you guys know. Because it's going to be a good debate. It's a 2 versus 2 debate. And I'll be going against, let's see. I'll be going head to head with, here we go. The debate is going to be a 2v2. So me and someone else versus 2 other people. And the topic is going to be, do women today have accountability? So easy debate. And then I'm going to be partnering up with a red pill girl named Chris. And we're going against 2 blue pill debaters named Dialogue Always and Lav. So tune in for that. That's going to be this Wednesday. Let me just make sure. No, I'm sorry. Next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. So those are the announcements that I have for you guys. Other than that, before you go, click the like button. Don't be a ninja watcher. Get the Without further ado, this podcast was No Fugazi. I appreciate all of y'all for tuning in. Until next time. Peace. And y'all see the suit too, man. Listen, new studio, new podcast by the spirit, not by the letter. Bro, we can go verse for verse all day long. Doing new things. Men are okay with understanding the reality that we are in competition with one another. But you ladies think that you're special. You are in competition. Men are men of their word. So here's my word. I'll fly you out here and we can do it in person. And after that, we could box. I'm about my business. So remember I said, when I ask you these questions, I will dismantle your entire argument. That's the end of the debate, my dog.
I'm 39, but I don't look your typical 39.
Belly.
Yeah.
You look 39. It's okay though. That man isn't intimidated by a woman like you. He's annoyed by a woman like you. Because a man doesn't want to date another man. He wants to date a woman.